Great Tuesday morning, everybody. What is happening? Welcome back to your midday hang. Is this thing on? Okay, there we go. It's Annie and Elsten here with you on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan, broadcasting live from Baja Ricks, just outside Petco Park. We are on 6th Street. We are across the street from the Hard Rock, and we are here for the next 4 hours. Live, local San Diego Sports Talk Radio, your pregame show today for a just after 6 o'clock first pitch between the Padres and Dodgers. Game 3 of this series that the Padres are winning 1-1 right now. At least that's how it feels, Annie. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. It feels like, is there a baseball game being played today?
Seriously.
Or is it just storyline after storyline, headline after headline, drama after drama? I can't wait till these two teams just take the field and set a new storyline in the 3 hours or 2.5 hours that it takes to play the baseball game tonight.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. We've got so much to talk about today. And just to set the stage, normal show, right? Normal full 4-hour show here with you till 2 o'clock. Gwen and Chris will check in. They'll be here live from 2 to 5 o'clock. Then we'll go inside to Sammy Levit, inside the loft in the Western Metals building for the Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show tonight. Sammy will be stopping by. Earlier in the show, he's asked actually for our silly games time slot today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, of 12:40. Boss move. We can just move the game.
We can move the game.
We can just move the game. So we'll move the game. I was like, hey, if you want to play fast money, sure. No.
You'd actually be really good.
You would probably be very good. But nonetheless, so Sammy will be on a little bit later. Of course, next hour we'll do our Padres Deep Dive Hour. I promise you we will mostly talk baseball during the 11 a.m. hour. We'll talk about the game of Major League Baseball that will be played tonight because, believe it or not, this series is not going to be decided in a national columnist's missive that is posted on a Tuesday morning, and it's not going to be decided by an election. There's no poll that will determine the winner of the Padres and the Dodgers. They're actually going to play a Major League Baseball game tonight, which does feel, to echo your opening comments, something that's a long way from what's being discussed.
It does. It kind of feels like it's on the back burner, and that's why I'm very excited for when 6:08 hits, first pitch is thrown, and you can get underway with a new, like I said, a new storyline, a new set of questions after the game. The Padres are in, I think, a really good position where if they do take today's game, I think obviously puts a ton of pressure on the Dodgers. You're not out of it if you're the Padres if you lose tonight, but with all the headlines that have been around this team and the pressure I think that is on Los Angeles right now, the Padres can take this one tonight. I think it's looking pretty good for them to go ahead and take the series.
LA had to win at least one game, but really their goal was to win both games at Dodger Stadium. They've got the home field advantage. They've got the big-time offense, and they threw their top 2 starters in an attempt, just like anyone would do, to try and grab those first 2 games at home. They didn't get the job done. They lost Game 2. They got embarrassed. They got blown out. They gave up the most home runs that a home team had in the history of the postseason. Yes. That's pretty stunning. Obviously, they melted down on and off the field with histrionics, with their starting pitcher top-stepping the dugout to yell at Manny Machado. They lost it with their fans, creating an embarrassing debacle and almost approaching the moment of a forfeit in a playoff game, which would have been the ultimate embarrassment for a fan base. So when you get embarrassed that badly, in modern society, the play is generally to completely try and turn it around and play the victim, play the fool, play everyone for the fool, and say, no, what you saw you didn't see. It was actually something completely different. And that has been the LA Dodgers organizational attitude, as evidenced by their leader, Dave Roberts, over the course of the last day, to try and turn this whole thing around and make the Padres into literally a villainous unit led by a sinister man who has sinister slings, and to literally create an event that didn't happen and make it into something that could dominate national headlines. And you managed to get yourself into the conversation yesterday because Dave Roberts talked about a video. He just said, there's a video. I saw the video. I was unsettled by the video. It's disturbing. Could it warrant an ejection? We'll leave it to MLB. And there was no video. There was no actual video. They just talked about it, and then you put up the video.
Yes.
Where'd you get the video?
Well, I can't say where I got the video from a source.
Okay, all right, okay, all right.
But and I want to be clear that that's not the only angle. There's definitely an angle that in The Athletic is written about, which is an overhead angle where you can see a little bit more clearly, and I don't have access to that, where I think that's the play that they're referring to, where they see the ball skip toward the dugout, and then it does hop off of the, what do you call that? The screen?
Yeah,
the
a
rail.
little net. Yeah,
the net in front of the Dodgers dugout. And because it hits it bounces like all baseballs do, and it plops over by a little closer to home plate, or like halfway between the dugout and home plate, okay? So is it a throw with a little bit of what would you call it? Like a little extra spark to it? It is, and that happens all the time. Like I reached out to managers and players who play in Major League Baseball who are not affiliated with the Padres, have no horse in the race, and are like, look, this happens all the time. A player makes an error, a player has a strikeout, a player whatever. They throw the ball, and sometimes there's a little to it. There's a little maybe a little skip to it, a little beat to it. But I look at that video and I just don't see where Manny was trying to hit Dave. I don't see where Manny was trying to hit anyone. I see a ball that went toward a dugout on the ground, bounced off of the netting, and landed in the field of play where someone ran out. The ball boy ran out and got it. Like, it just wasn't, to me, something worthy of an investigation. It's just something that happens all the time. And when you look at what Manny said after the game on Sunday night, he said, look, yeah, like, I throw balls into the dugouts all the time. And he added, they threw at Tati. They threw at Fernando Tatis Jr. So, look, Manny probably was a little irritated at that point. I don't want to speak for him, but it would be understandable if he was, right? But again, I'm watching that video and I'm seeing whatever angles that you can see that are out there, and to me, it just doesn't look like it's worthy of any kind of investigation or matter that goes beyond just a heated baseball game in which both sides were trying to dig out and get the win and take away all the noise and just kind of do their thing, right? I mean, both sides were going at it. So I'm not sure what you achieve, I guess, right, by bringing it up. And honestly, and I don't know, I don't want to speak for Dave, but like, I think maybe, are you trying to get your team kind of riled up? Maybe you're trying to get your team to have a little bit of an edge and to play with some fire, because you see the Padres doing it on their side. And I have nothing against Dave Roberts if he wants to do that, but I don't think that he was in danger, is what I'm trying to say.
So I want to start here, okay? I want to start here, and yes, we're going to get into eventually Ken Rosenthal and his column today and the way it's played through the national media lens and the whole thing. But I really want to build off what you just said to start. And we talked about this yesterday with the delay at Dodger Stadium. I've been around soccer for a long time. There's something called the dark arts in soccer. And it is generally when one team is losing to the other team, can't beat the other team, is getting dragged by the other team, and they need to do something. They need to do something to change the conversation, something to change the energy, something, anything to get away from the fact that their team is being outmatched, outplayed, and is unable to win that match. And so it could be embellishing a foul. It could be committing a foul. It could be rolling around. It could be yelling at the referee. There's dark art upon dark art. It could be, a secret kick to a key player. This is baseball dark arts here. And what I saw yesterday is more of what I smelled through my laptop. The stink of desperation from a manager desperate to change the narrative away from a multi-zillion dollar starting pitcher, the most expensive starting pitcher in the history of the game as a free agent, who couldn't get out of 3 innings in game 1. A major trade deadline acquisition that served up 2 homers in 2 innings and wound up sniveling at the top of his dugout, yelling at the captain of the other team. A fan base that degraded itself and the sport on a national stage. A team that served up 6 homers at home to their rival and allowed 15 runs in 2 games. In a lot of ways, the Dodgers are losing this series when it's tied 1-1. They failed at home. They got blown out. Their starters can't hold the line. Mookie Betts has not gotten anything going. Most of their lineup hasn't gotten anything going. Freddie Freeman is hurt. There's a lot of bad things going on in LA right now. So you know what we could do? Let's make this about, Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., Jurickson Profar, their attitude. We don't like it. Let's throw some words out there. Disturbing, unsettling, and how about a manager literally saying that another team likes to play the villain role. Sounds like someone who's desperate, Annie, to throw a hero hat on top of his own head.
Yeah, I don't see the Padres as liking to play the villain role. I see the Padres as a team that has an edge, that feels very strongly about their position in the postseason right now, that loves each other, that wants to go out there and fight for each other. And they play with that intensity and they have fun. I mean, to me, it's a team that goes out there and enjoys it. They have fun. They do what they need to do at the plate and in the field. And in between, if they dance a little or they interact with fans, so be it. Like, that's why you're there, right? Like, you're there to have fun, and you're there as a fan to have a little bit of that, a little bit of showmanship, in my opinion. I do understand the argument of people on the other side that say, no, that's disrespectful. You can't do that in this sport. But I would argue right back and say, why? Says who? Who makes those rules, right? So it's all in the eye of the beholder. I think for Manny, I think that this is a big overreaction about that ball that hit over there. I can understand where the Dodgers were upset and had every right to throw their hands up and say something after the game, but to prolong it to the next day is where I think that it was a mistake, because look, now you put a lot of pressure on that Dodgers dugout, that lineup, to now go out there and win this game and really show that they're not a soft team and they're not a team that is kind of crying over spilled milk. So there's a lot of heat on them right now, I feel like, too, besides all the normal heat that's on them, the expectations that are on them right now anyways. So if no one had brought it up yesterday, none of this would have come to surface. And I also think Dave Roberts kind of missed an opportunity. Do it inside the clubhouse, right? Do it to your own players. Say, hey, this isn't right. This ain't right. And
which they did. I'm sure they did.
But to bring it publicly, I think you open that can of worms where myself, whoever, anybody else that maybe is able to see the video or get their hands on the video, is able to put it out there. It just doesn't look good. Not for Manny, but just the situation in general just doesn't look that provocative.
Oh, the Dodgers looked Charmin soft yesterday. They looked like this. Honestly, it was the softest thing I've ever seen in a Major League Baseball situation from a team in between 2 games. Oh, I'm unsettled. I'm unnerved. I needed to see a baseball fire off of the back wall of the Dodgers dugout at 85 miles an hour, which is what Manny used in his throw to start the triple play. Okay? If I saw that, then I would say, okay, you got unsettled. He buzzed the tower. He actually threw a ball in there. Boy, that could be described by a national writer as a punkish behavior. Okay, here comes narrative ball rolling on downhill. Oops, here's the video. Blip, bloop, bloop. Blip, bloop. The thing that only happens 1,000 times a year in Major League Baseball, oh God, ooh. So it's amazing to me.
I also think that if it was such a big deal, if it really had been a major thing, the TV broadcast would have found a way to bring it in, and the fans sitting above the third base dugout, sitting above the Dodgers dugout, would have seen something. There would have been more to this that would have come out, that would have affected this before the last pressers yesterday. It would have been more of a story, and I'm just not sure that it is. It is now, but for the wrong reasons, I think.
So here's because this is a Padres station. Wow, now the roles have reversed. Now it's my mic that's all blown out. And Manny sounds good. Okay, there it is. Here's what I'd like all of us in the audience, and of course, I'm telling you what I'm going to do. You can do what you want to do. Wow. Our focus needs to be on the game tonight. This is a huge game. This is the swing game of the series. This is everything. This is up 2-1 or backs against the wall. This is putting LA in their hotel room tomorrow night thinking it's the last night of their season, or guaranteeing them that at the very least they get to go back home to their fan base. Petco Park is going to be hot tonight. But what the ultimate goal of Dave Roberts is with this type of nonsense narrative, it's to disrupt the focus of the San Diego Padres, a team that has been locked in like no other since the All-Star break and especially since the trade deadline. Their goal is to get us too hype. They believe that the personalities on this team are such that they will get overhyped, overexcited, and as we all know in baseball, when you try too hard, you don't do enough. You've got to be okay. That got a little better. I'm glad I'm ranting now. It's a perfect chance for Braden to equalize the microphones. I think we're almost there. So we need to be hyped on this game, not on Dave Roberts, not on Ken Rosenthal, not on any of that. On a super talented, dangerous lineup that is over there trying to score on our team, on a bullpen of arms that's live and nasty over there in LA. I have not changed one thing from the beginning of this series. You approach them with respect and determination. You respect their talent and you are determined to overcome it. Now, do I respect their manager? Just a little bit less than I used to, I'll tell you that. Just a little bit less than I used to, in the words of the Smiths, okay? Slightly less than I used to. But nonetheless, the game's the thing. The game's what matters. And as Andy said at the beginning, the Dodgers are trying to change their energy, and they're trying to mess with ours. Let's not let it happen, San Diego. Petco Park is going to be a fortress and a cauldron tonight. When we come back, let's get into the game itself. Michael King on the mound tonight. A locked-in Fernando Tatis Jr. Let's get into all of it as we continue to 2 o'clock with Andy and Elsten. We're live at Baja Rick's just outside Petco Park on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 93 on the Fan. Welcome back. We are live at Baja Rex. It's Annie and Elsten here with you. Annie Halpern, Craig Elsten, Braden Soprennant, all together outside Petco Park. We're here till 2. Gwen and Chris will check in at that time. All right, so we kind of got at least the first part of this whole thing from yesterday up and out of the way. The Padres baseball game is what matters. Game 3 in a best of 5, tied 1-1. Winner of this game usually wins the series. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, it's not every time. It's not a certainty, but you definitely push the odds in your favor, as they say on that win ticker thing at the top of the screen.
Odds,
playoff odds,
or
yes.
whatever. Yeah. ESPN hates its product so much. But I digress. Yes. So tonight, the reason why, to me, this game matters so much to San Diego is because we have worked through 2 games to get to this moment of advantage, right? In the first 2 games of the series, the Padres started Dylan Cease, started Yu Darvish, tremendous guys that we count on. Cease didn't really rise to the moment. You absolutely did. But the Padres' best starter in the second half of the season has been Michael King. And the guy who went out there and delivered 7 shutty against the Braves his first time out, that's Michael King. LA does not have a Michael King waiting. Walker Buehler has been dominant at previous times in his career, and certainly against San Diego, and certainly in past versions of himself in the playoffs, Annie. I'm not writing him off as getting hammered, but he's not the same guy he used to be.
No, definitely not writing him off. I mean, he is someone who has had the 2 Tommy John surgeries, has not come back the same way. However, he's no stranger to the big moment, no stranger to what's at stake for the Dodgers. I don't think it's worked out for them that way with Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Jack Flaherty yet, but Walker Buehler, you just never know. Is he going to go out there and he's going to have the game of his life maybe, or he's going to be able to kind of dig deep and give the Dodgers what they need? It's possible, right? But to this point, he's been streaky. He's been someone who's been a bit inconsistent, not the guy that they were hoping to get back. And you look at the Dodgers, that I mean, like they're in this position because of all their injuries. 12 pitcher injuries. Every single person in their starting rotation has been injured at some point during the season. Picked up Jack Flaherty at the trade deadline. Like, they don't want to be in this position. They're in this position because they don't have any other choice. They need these guys to work for them. And if they don't, they need the hitters to outslug. So for right now, I mean, you look at Michael King, and his first postseason start was last week, and he did a tremendous job. You said 7 scoreless innings against the Braves, who are also a good lineup. You got to think that he's going to have his feet under him tonight. You never know if it's going to be their best start, or, I never want to put that on him that he's going to go out there and do another 7 scoreless innings. But I would think that Michael King is ready for the moment at least, and is ready, has game prepared, has looked at that lineup, has gone through that lineup multiple times with his catchers and with Ruben Yabla, and figured out the best way to game plan against this team. And I have no doubt that he's going to be ready. So is Walker Buehler. So it's going to be a good fight there.
The last time Buehler pitched in the playoffs was 2021. With the Tommy John surgery, he was unavailable to them in each of the last 2 playoffs. He pitched quite poorly in the 2021 playoffs. He did okay against San Francisco in a couple of starts, but never got through the 6th inning. And then in 2 starts against the Braves, he got hammered. He only lasted 7 2/3 in those 2 starts. He gave up 13 hits. He gave up 8 runs in 7 2/3 innings. So Buehler's great postseason history, which includes 15 starts with a 2.94 ERA lifetime, most all of that damage in terms of to the opponent was done when he was 23, 24, 25 years old. He's now in the second stage of his career, and as you said, it doesn't make him incapable of doing it, but this is what he did this year. 75 innings, 89 hits, 16 of those went over the fence in 75 innings. Walker Buehler has been hit around this year, and he's got a whip of 1.5. I mean, honestly, that's mediocrity personified.
And just a reminder of what we talked a little bit about yesterday. In their last 5 playoff games, Dodgers opponents have scored first. They've outscored LA a combined 13-0 in the first inning, 24-4 through 3 innings. So the Dodgers have a problem of their opponent getting on the board first, putting the quote-unquote momentum, which definitely is a thing inside of a game, right? Like the tone inside of a game, onto the opponent's side. Now, the Dodgers did a fine job on Saturday coming back tying with a Shohei Ohtani home run and then taking the lead and not relinquishing it. And you got to think that Dave Roberts will be ready with that bullpen again today. Will the Padres have an advantage, having seen them a little bit? There's something to that for sure, so we'll see. But if the Dodgers can't hit, if they can't get some runs on the board, and the Padres do their thing, and they take it to Walker Buehler early, this is going to be one that the Padres are going to have their fans at their back. They're going to have all this media attention at their back, this national drama, and they're going to run with that. I don't think that they're going to let their foot off the gas.
The hidden key that we talked about on yesterday's show, but I will belabor, in terms of beating the Dodgers, is beating the guys around Shohei Ohtani. Right? In baseball, there's many ways that a player can beat you. They can beat you with their feet, they can beat you with their glove, they can beat you with their arm, they can beat you with their bat. Shohei Ohtani right now has one way to beat the Padres, and that's with his bat. He's a designated hitter. He's not going to be out in the field. He's not going to be up on the mound. Obviously, if he walks to lead off a game, he can steal a base, but in the playoffs, that 59 steals that he put together in the regular season, it's a lot less meaningful because in the playoffs, each base is so precious and it's going to be rare that he's going to have that opportunity. So the key is to do what you, Darvish, did in Game 2, which is to keep Edman, Lux, and Rojas off the bases, to end innings with those guys, to have an inning end after the 8 or the 9 hitter bats, instead of letting those guys rotate the lineup and flip it back with Ohtani batting with runners at first and second. It's the whole key to shutting down this LA offense.
And Michael King talked about that in his press conference yesterday, so you know that this has been a talking point because everyone's mentioned it. Mike Schilt mentioned it multiple times whenever he's asked about Ohtani. Ohtani's fantastic, generational hitter, but we got to worry about the guys in front of him and he can't drive them in. Michael King mentioned it. You, Darvish, mentioned it. So this has been a big talking point for the Padres, something that they definitely fixed for the second game, and I think are going to go into this game with at least that same mentality. Now, of course, you know, the Dodgers are trying to hit too, so I don't think it's going to be easy by any means, but the good thing about Michael King, as we've discussed, is he's got a great pitch mix and he's able to fool hitters and be able to keep them a little bit off balance and a little bit confused at what's coming. So if he's got that working tonight, and I am assuming it's going to be Kyle Higashioka out there with him and a good game plan going, they've got a good shot here. And then when you get past Ohtani, you know, a big storyline right now too is Mookie Betts.
Yes.
0 for 21 in October, going back to 2022. His last hit was the first inning of Game 3 of the 2022 NLDS. He is 3 for 44. That's a .068 in his last 12 playoff games. I don't think that this is, I don't think you count Mookie Betts at all. Of course, he's Mookie Betts, and he's played 2 games in the playoffs this year. This is a new season for him. He can get going at any moment. I read that he went back into the batting cage and he did his 300 swings. And that's what he did last time against the Padres and was able to get going. But you got to wonder, you know, this is probably it sounds like it's in his head a little bit, and what kind of effect that might have for the Dodgers.
Absolutely. This is, again, going back to the first segment, these are all the things that LA doesn't want to focus on. These are all the things that LA doesn't want to talk about, is that they've got 3 superstars, future Hall of Famers at the top of their lineup. One dude's cool, one guy's in a complete slump, and the other guy's got a busted ankle.
And we don't know yet with Freddie Freeman what the status is. It sounded like Dave Roberts, as he should say, we expect him to go tomorrow, which is, you know, today. He was saying that yesterday, but they got to go day by day and see how it goes.
And the beautiful thing about baseball is you have to submit the lineup. So it's not like Freddie just gets to come, is that Freddie Freeman's music? You know, as he comes running in from side stage, it's not going to happen, man. You know, Freddie did everything he could to get back for Game 1, but to say that he's going to be an impact player in the series, that's going to be up to their trainers with no doubt. Here's the impact player of this series. It's number 23 in white pinstripe brown. It's Fernando Tatis Jr. Fernando Tatis Jr. is the most locked in I have ever seen him as a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah.
And it's not just the LA series. It's back to the Atlanta series. It's back to the day he came back. Really, since about the 3rd game he came back after Labor Day. The first couple of games, you saw that little bit of frogginess, you know, from Tatis, that little bit of chase on the low and away, getting a little excited. Ever since then, this kid has been 100% on lock. He is slugging the way he did in 2020, 2021. He is playing top of range, and the top of range for Fernando Tatis Jr. is best player in baseball. It's an exciting place to be.
Yeah, he's doing a tremendous job. We went through his stats yesterday. I don't have them exactly in front of me, but like a 667 on base percentage. His OPS is 12 or 14 something, right? So he's doing an incredible job, and he's getting it done, I think, very smartly, very intelligently. You talked about the walks. He takes the walks when he needs to. He doesn't try to do too much, and honestly, I think that's been the key to the Padres. Look, getting past the Braves, but also getting the win yesterday. They don't, or I'm sorry, on Sunday. They don't try to do more than what they've been doing during the regular season. Like, they're taking that approach of, I've got to do my part. I've got to move the line along. I've got to pass the baton any way I can. But I'm not going to try to be the hero every at-bat. And it's so easy to do that in the postseason and to change your mentality and think that you have to be the guy that gets the home run or that gets the 3 RBIs or whatever. And it's not the case. Like that I think can really hurt a lot of teams, and that's being really preached to the Padres, where it's like, just do what you normally do. Don't do any more. Fernando just kind of rises to a different level, and I think that someone that just loves this moment. Really quickly, got to talk to Victor Rodriguez a little bit yesterday about his hitting approach, and we've talked about it a lot on the show, and it's been written about and reported in part. But he called Manny, Xander, Cronenworth, I can't remember the last one, over the offseason and said, here's my idea for how I want this offense to be. What are your ideas? What do you think? They all bought in, and it was this like line-to-line, gap-to-gap, line drive, gap-to-gap approach. And then in spring training, he said they set out screens, like a screen at shortstop, a screen at second base. And the only thing that these hitters needed to do is go out there and shoot the ball, short swing path, shoot the ball through the screen, shoot the ball through, like, get it through that gap, get it through that hole. And it wasn't even that it's never going to be defended there. It was just to get that motion of just that short swing path and making, getting the ball through the gap. And that was kind of how they did it. But they all bought in. They were all in on it. And he said, when you try to get the ball in the air, early retirement for Victor Rodriguez. Victor Rodriguez is going to be sitting at home and not doing anything in October, and maybe not being a hitting coach for a team. So it was kind of cool to just learn a little bit more about that and how they went about it and the very intentional approach that they've had. And then with that, as we saw, comes homers when they hit the homers.
That's the funny part, right? The team created a whole brand new philosophy of don't try to pull home runs. Let's focus gap to gap. Let's focus between the screens.
Yeah, between the screens.
That's perfect. Between the screens, shooting line drives. And then they set the club record for home runs at home. And then they set the all-time Major League record for postseason road homers in a single game. Because when you, again, I'm going to keep coming back to this. You'll hear it through the playoffs. When you try too hard, you don't do enough. It's the nature of the sport. There's certain sports that are this way. Golf is this way. Baseball is this way. You've got to stay within yourself. And when you stay within yourself, then magic things happen and the ball springs off your bat and you go, I didn't even feel it as it came through because you connected, you clicked. When you try a little too hard, sawdust starts coming out between your fingers as you're gripping that bat so hard. That's when you see runners in scoring position get stranded. That's when you see pop-ups with the bases loaded, all the things that devastate an offense. Padres have been a paragon of doing it offensively the smart way, taking advantage of what baseball gives you. They've done it all year long.
Yeah, and they've stuck to their approach, and they're going to stick to their approach in the postseason, and they're going to get their hits. They're going to get their home runs when they come, and they're not going to shy away from that, of course. But for them, I just think you're going to be at Petco Park tonight after being in what you could call a bit of a hostile environment, right? And by the way, I saw the video of the Dodgers fan throwing a bottle onto the field next to
Me too.
Was it Profar or Tatis?
No, it was Nando. Yeah.
It was Fernando, and then kind of dancing around about it, and it was kind of gross. I mean, it was gross, right? And again, I think that's why you heard Padres players implore, don't throw things onto the field today. Don't do that stuff. Eric Grupner and the Padres sent out an email to the season ticket holders last night and said, we will not stand for it. We will find you. We will kick you out. Here's our code of conduct. So I hope it's just a fun game tonight and a fun game tomorrow.
Padre fans, that's it. Padre fans are going to bring the passion tonight. Padre fans are going to bring the energy and the noise tonight, and we're going to leave the punk-ass, childish, crybaby antics to the visitors. We'll let them handle that. They can have that space. They can inhabit it. They can have it all to themselves. We're going to take it. We're going to take it to them, and we're going to do it the right way, and we're going to do it in a way that everyone in Major League Baseball notices. And let me tell you, gang, as we go to break, baseball notices, okay? Baseball is paying attention. I just saw earlier today, I want to say it was The Athletic, but I forget. So many newsletters pop into my email feed, right? And it was literally like ranking the best playoff atmosphere. Guess who got number one?
Padres?
The Padres got number one.
Right.
It was not Citizens Bank Park, which has ruled that space. Everyone has said, the Phillies, well, they've got the best. Dodger Stadium, it's the biggest, it's the loudest. Oh, well, you can't beat New York fans. Oh, well, yeah. New York fans, San Diego don't hold a candle to the New York fans. Hey, we're fanning here. No, San Diego. San Diego, number one. And we are going to show all of San Diego and all of the nation tonight what that positive power of a passionate fan base that is not stupid and punkish can deliver. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
I just want to say, too, I don't think it's going to be easy for the Padres. I don't think they're going to go in there and scare. I mean, maybe the game will be easy, but the Dodgers are going to put up a fight, I'm sure. I don't think the Dodgers like being embarrassed. I don't think the Dodgers like the attention that they've gotten on the other side of this. I think the Dodgers are a bunch of prideful players who are going to want to go out there and going to want to win a game. So I don't think that this is going to be a skate in the park, but I think that the Padres have a lot of good things going for them in this series with it returning back home to Petco Park. But, you never know. Maybe the Dodgers outside of their stadium find a different kind of gear where it's a different kind of release of pressure in some ways. So you know that the Padres aren't taking it lightly, and you know that both teams are going to come out and they're going to compete. I think they're definitely going to give it a game.
It's going to be a baseball game. Believe it or not, it's not going to be a wrestling match, despite what you've seen. Here on 97.3 Raw for the last 24 hours. It is not going to be that. We will play a Major League Baseball game coming up at 6. I think they're going to throw it closer to 6:09. 6:09
I think they're going to go 6:08
No!
on the dot.
No!
On the dot. No, right? Because these fans are going to be in their seats and ready.
Maybe 6:07. Maybe go one early.
All right, fine. Maybe 6:09. We'll go 6:09.
6:09. Because you know why? Because there's going to be a minute delay when Ken Rosenthal goes out to do his stand-up, and the entire crowd sees him and just serenades him. And it's going to create a slight delay as he looks around and then makes it about himself, and then they do the whole thing.
I wonder if there'll be a little bit of umpires walking around and telling both dugouts preemptively, hey, no funny business today. We're not, I'm interested to see kind of what goes on and when you exchange the lineup cards, if there's any extra chatter. Or we might see two teams that just go out there and play a pretty professional game that are also maybe tired of all the noise.
Nah.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Why do that? All right, when we come back, because we're about to dive into the Padres Deep Dive Hour, we will turn our attention next segment to the other 3 series that are going on, because they're all awesome. And we've basically not talked about them at all for 2 days. So we are going to talk about what's going on Mets-Phillies, which gets back going today, what happened yesterday at Yankee Stadium where Kansas City grabbed the win, and what happened yesterday in Cleveland where the Tigers stole a win off the best pitcher in baseball history. Unbelievable. Wow. All of it next. Andy and Elsten live from Baja Rex on the Fan.
Runner goes, pitch is swung on, a high fly ball to right field. This one is gonna fly! A 3-run home run! Kerry Carpenter! The Tigers up 3-0 as Carpenter, an emphatic, towering fly ball home run.
That's Brian Anderson on TBS yesterday afternoon as Detroit evened up their best-of-5 series with Cleveland with a 3-0 victory. Welcome back, Andy and Elsten. We're live at Baja Rick's outside Petco Park, kind of outside the southwest corner of Petco Park. We'll be here till 2 o'clock. Station's here till 5 o'clock with Gwen and Chris checking in from 2 to 5. Pregame show inside the ballpark. And Annie, the weird schedule, first off. We didn't really talk about this yesterday. We talked about it off the air. We didn't talk about it on the air. Very weird schedule, very beneficial to the home teams in the American League where they got a bonus day off. And this was purely for television, designed to make sure there was baseball on every day and that there was never a day off in the playoffs. But in the American League, they played game 1, then took a day, then play game 2, then they take another day.
That's weird.
Yeah, right? Today. I'm not sure if your mic's on. And
okay.
There we go.
Here we go.
Yeah, and then they play games 3 and 4. Then they'll take another day before a game 5 that would be on Saturday. So a big advantage to a team like the Yankees that has a Garrett Cole that they want to pitch twice.
I can't understand it. I can't understand how Major League Baseball will kind of have one set of rules for the National League and one set of rules for the American League in terms of days off. I mean, anytime you have a day off, you get to reset things. You get rest. You get to reset the bullpen. You get to kind of use a little bit more gamesmanship and strategy. It's odd to me that they wouldn't have done this in a way that, could have been at least a little bit more fairly done. I think maybe just flip-flopping the days, but starting them.
Or like if you're going to have an extra day.
Exactly what I'm saying.
No,
but yeah,
I know what you mean. Like if you're going to have an extra day in between 1 and 2, then have no off day between 3, 4, and 5.
Right.
And just force the teams to overnight fly, which, by the way, they do all season long. It's not like it's an insane ask of a major league team.
It's a weird thing. I don't remember it being like that last year, but maybe it was. I don't know. The Padres weren't in it. I didn't pay a ton of attention, but it is odd that the two. Just like how there was a designated hitter for so long in the American League, it is kind of weird how the two leagues are playing different schedules and different off days and everything. But that's the breaks, right? That you take the cards that are on the table. And I'll tell you, the Tigers game was on in the Padres clubhouse yesterday when we were allowed in there, and the entire clubhouse was watching this game. And the home run was hit while we were in the clubhouse, and you could hear all the gasps and oh man, and here we go, and then the catch. I don't know exactly
Stephen
what happened.
Kwan,
there we go.
yeah.
But did the catch hit the ground? Was it a catch? Was it an out? So that was the buzz around the clubhouse yesterday in terms of watching it. It was on every TV.
Well, I was watching at home too, Annie, and I'll tell you, one of the big things, and this can transition us into Mets and Phillies in a minute too, one of the big things I truly track in the playoffs is when a manager gets outside his regular usage of his players. And when he starts to do something that's above and beyond, because usually with closers, they blow it. Usually when you have a closer and you spend the whole year saying, do it this way, and then, oh, hang on, it's playoffs, do it a completely different way, that's when they get blown up. It's one of the things that is the most encouraging thing to me, and we all admit Suarez is our shakiest peg right now on the pegboard, but he has been used all year. Coming in the 8th inning, coming in with 1 out in the 8th inning, coming in to pitch in a 4 or a 5-run game. Emmanuel Clase was not used that way. Edwin Diaz was not used that way. And Clase yesterday, who has literally, you can look it up, gang, for a pitcher with 200 innings or more in their major league career, he's got the best numbers in the history of the sport. Literally the best numbers in the history of sport. Argument to be made, he's the most dominant, most difficult pitcher to face in baseball history. But they asked him to come into a tie game. They asked him to come in with runners on base in the 8th inning. He gave up a line drive to left that Kwan saved his bacon with an incredible, gold glove catch. And then they brought him out there for an up and down when Clase hadn't done up and down pretty much all year long. And what does he do? He gives up a hit to the 9-hitter. He gives up a hit to a kid hitting 210. And that brings up the one dude
that the Tigers kind of have right now, the young slugger Kerry Carpenter, and Carpenter saw 3 straight sliders.
Yeah.
And he hit the third one to Broadway. He crushed it.
Yeah, he saw it. He got the timing. He looked at it and he said, all right, this one's mine. And that was the difference in the game. And these have been really good games. I think the whole series, the whole wild card and division series have been really good. The Mets and Phillies has been tremendous. And the American League as well, in terms of that competition. And it is interesting that you bring it up, what guys don't normally do, because Dave Roberts had Blake Trinan do that on Saturday night. I mean, he hadn't had a save of more than 3 outs since 2021. It was the most pitches he's thrown in 5 years. And you could have easily seen that backfire as well.
Sure.
I mean, it worked for them on Saturday night, but he did get traffic. The Padres did get something going. And then you also wonder, what are the residual effects of that? Maybe nothing. Maybe Blake Trinan is good to go today, tomorrow, no problems. But sometimes you just don't know with closers especially. It's a finicky bunch. They're very finicky, So what kind of effect could that have? I thought that was a risk that he did that in Saturday's game. And like I said, it worked out. But it is interesting when they do something that they've never done before.
Well, that brings me to Carlos Mendoza, because as the Mets were pushing for the playoffs, and you understand it, Edwin Diaz is asking for the ball. He's saying, give me a 6-ounce save. Give me a 7-ounce save. I will carry you to the finish line. And in order for the Mets to make the playoffs, Edwin Diaz threw twice around 40-pitch outings. Up and down outings, coming in way outside his regular zone. Yeah. Then he's gotten to the playoffs, and he's blown it. He's straight up blown it. And in that classic game that preceded ours on Sunday, they asked Edwin Diaz to come in with 2 outs in the 7th inning. And it was nuts the moment you saw it. His stuff was off. Then they throw up the graphic. Oh, he's thrown 130 pitches in the last 4 outings. And sure enough, he serves up the lead. And eventually, Phillies came back. Mets came back. Phillies came back. Phillies wind up winning the game. But the bottom line is now, Diaz, you don't know what you can get from him the next time out.
Diaz is an exceptional closer who is inconsistent quite a bit and has been to get the Mets into the playoffs. And then since the Mets have been in the playoffs, you got to hold your breath every time he comes in. He might get it. He might get the save, but you also might be going to extras, or the other team might be walking it off.
No kidding. So it's what I'm always watching. When does a team get outside its zone? When does a team start making kind of panicky moves that you would only do if desperation was at your door? When that happens, usually desperation walks right in. Walks right on in, because you have taken your team out of your comfort zone. When we come back, your Padres Deep Dive Hour before Game 3 of the National League Division Series. What does Michael King have to do to beat the Dodgers? We get into it next. Welcome back into the Padres Deep Dive Hour on Annie and Elsten. We are broadcasting live at Baja Ricks all day today for Game 3 of the Padres and Dodgers and the National League Division Series. It's brought to you by Santo Super Premium Additive-Free Tequila from Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Sammy Hagar and world-renowned chef Guy Fieri. Santo, work hard, play loud. They actually, Annie, put the pronunciation in here. Fieri.
Well,
Fieri.
I think I did say it wrong yesterday. You say it right, Braden. You have that,
Fieri.
Fieri. Fieri.
I'm like, Guy Fieri?
Yeah.
That's how it looks
Guy
like.
Fieri's at the
Fieri.
SDSU game?
Fieri.
Fieri.
How do you say Rogota?
Get a few hundred
Ricotta.
thousand followers, all of a sudden you're Fieri.
Yeah.
Frost your tips.
I do. Did you ever watch that show?
Oh, of course.
I totally watched that show.
Of course.
And it is always cool to see the San Diego places that get a little love. But
Yeah.
I always crack up at like the premise of that show where it's like he just rolls up in his
Yeah.
convertible.
Just rolls up.
and
his
he's
Camaro.
like, in his
No
Camaro.
prep. No prep. Cameras show up. Sure, just so happens that the owner is actually in the kitchen
And
today.
they're ready to cook with him. They're ready to cook with him. And every dish is delicious. But I do like it. I think it's cool. I think it's cool sometimes when you go on trips and you're like, let's go check out this place that was on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
I've checked out tons of those places,
Yeah?
and every time it's
Do they live up to the
phenomenal.
expectation?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
totally. So that's cool.
Majorly
I mean, what a
legit.
gig if you can get it, right? I mean, it's a pretty
Are
cool
you kidding
gig.
me?
Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, are
I
you
would
kidding
take
me?
it.
Guy's a chef, got a great personality.
Gets to go
perfect
around
do
the
a
country,
show.
go around the
Right.
world,
Yeah.
and check out places. It's cool.
He only has to sample them too. It's not like the man versus food guy. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's just not
really
holding
bad for
down.
his health.
Yes, that's right.
I'll just try this bad food and eat healthy the other time.
I mean, it's one of the best gigs in the world. Rest in power. Anthony Bourdain had the best gig
Yes.
in the world. Just go all over the world, experience culture, experience street food, experience everything.
did
That was the ultimate gig.
And he did such a great job of bringing the culture into the show, you
Yeah.
know, and kind of introducing people during a time when that really wasn't happening. I mean, it really wasn't a thing to do. And so crossed a lot of borders that normally don't get crossed. So yes, miss him, miss his show.
And this has been your Padres Deep Dive.
Yes.
For food. That's why I got the menu in front
Hour. Anthony
of us.
Bourdain is awesome. Guy Fieri, seems like a fun game. Okay, now we'll talk some baseball.
All right.
Here we go. It's Game 3. It's the NL Division Series. And, I want to start just by kind of resetting the baseball stakes here. You're facing a 98-win team that spent well over $1 billion on their roster to improve it this year. They are a franchise that has bowed out short of the World Series every year since 2020. They've gone out in either this round or the round after.
Yeah.
They generally have lost to division opponents along the way, including us, including Arizona last year. The pressure is mounting, continues to mount, and as we talked about in hour one, quite possibly might have already toppled Dave Roberts, who's spent the whole day spinning over things that had nothing to do with baseball yesterday.
Or that clubhouse. I mean, now you've got a clubhouse that has to answer those questions repeatedly and answer the question of, are you guys soft? Are you guys unable to handle the pressure of the playoffs? Are you guys worried about a ground ball coming your way or a throw that in a heated game? I mean, look, you could argue also when Jack Flaherty left the mound that, because I see a lot of people saying, look, what Manny did wasn't dangerous, but it was disrespectful. Well, what about what Jack Flaherty did when he said, you MFer and all this and that? Like, you could, if you want, you can construe that as disrespectful, right? And I'm not here to say, like, what's good and what's right. I mean, the players know. But to me, it was just both sides, right? Both sides were heated. Both sides were in a intense environment. And that's what happens when you're in a competitive environment and you want to win.
Indeed. To win tonight, the Padres are going to need another great effort from Michael King. I think there's no question about it. King is one of the players who is set to be a difference maker in this series, a standout starter on the mound. LA doesn't have that right now. San Diego does. King's the guy. 7 shutty already, 12 strikeouts against 0 walks. And I kind of want to start there with the 0 walks. It is hard
Oh
to
my
face
gosh.
LA and not walk a batter or two.
It is hard to not walk a batter for any lineup, for LA especially, if they go at it the way that they have been during the regular season. Did you get the sense with you, Darvish, that they were maybe a little bit more aggressive, or they were backing off their approach a little bit? I mean, he was getting them, and he was pretty efficient with his pitching.
That's the thing. I mean, there's still that chase element, right?
Yeah.
And he still walked at least one guy.
He did, yeah.
But
through like 6 innings, he was at 69 pitches or 60 pitches, and typically that's an offense that likes to foul things off and try to work up your pitch count and drive you out of the game. They've done it all regular season. That's what their lineup is known for. So you would think that if they can square up the ball, that they'll be able to go ahead and do that with Michael King. But Michael King, tremendous job of not walking anyone in his last playoff start.
And the thing about King that I really like in terms of this matchup, John Smoltz, who does have some good moments, as an analyst on the air, to be sure. He talked about how Yu Darvish manipulates the baseball and how he is able to spin the ball and spin it in multiple ways to multiple spots in the zone.
And full hitters.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's how he kept LA off balance, was not by dominating them like, oh, this fastball, this slider, I'm just going to keep chucking it down your throat and you can't handle it. No, it's here's this, here's another thing, here's another. It's the artisan, with the giant palette and all the 8 different colors, and he's just little trees here, little trees there. Yeah. He was painting, and he was
so good.
doing the job. And that's what Michael King does, too. He's got 2 breaking balls that break 20 to 20 inches from right to left. He's got another breaking ball that breaks 22 inches left to right. And he's got a changeup that drops 16 inches vertically. King manipulates the baseball, and if he can do that again tonight, he can keep LA off balance.
And what's cool is that Yu Darvish has already faced this Dodgers lineup and been successful, and Michael King hung on that dugout rail and watched every single pitch, and then he and Yu Darvish had a talk, and they talked with Ruben Niebla. Like, there's a lot of communication going on about, all right, now you're the next pitcher up. Here's what worked for me. Here's what could work for your pitch mix. Here's what could work for this guy. So they're definitely going to come in with a good game plan and something that they feel like is successful or can be successful against this lineup.
Michael King this year against the LA Dodgers has had success. King has 4 appearances. Of course, remember, he did have that Game 2 appearance, right? In Korea.
Yep.
Gave up the homer to Betts in that particular outing, so that was 3 runs. Of the 7 total earned runs that he allowed this year, 3 came on that swing in the second inning of his Padres tenure for Michael King. His starts have been even better. 2-0, 3.10 ERA, 20 and a third innings, so he's given some depth. And here's the thing that, now Michael King, 10 walks in 20 and a third innings against LA. So, as you would expect, facing these big hitters, he's going to try and get him to chase, and sometimes he's not going to give in.
Right. This is a good lineup. It's a good Dodgers lineup, and Michael King has grown a lot as a pitcher. I mean, especially early in the season when he gave up quite a few home runs, really gave up a lot of walks during that time. And he might, he could give up walks tonight. It's a playoff game. Anything's on the board. It's hard to be perfect in a playoff game when you're both competing for what could be a do or die situation. But I think the confidence that he has personally with Michael King in terms of the growth that he's had, the way that his arm is feeling, which is another story in itself, right? I mean, now he's getting close to at least 200 innings. He's got to be.
Sure. And
his arm is still feeling pretty darn good, and they haven't noticed anything that would be concerning with his move from the bullpen to the starting rotation. So, sometimes you embrace the moment too, right? Like, you see that Yu Darvish was able to do this, and you just want to be the next pitcher that takes the baton and doesn't break the chain. But it's going to be a big environment. It's going to maybe even be bigger than the Braves was last week. So a big test for Michael King, but I think one that the lineup behind him, the guys playing behind him, feel pretty confident in.
His last time out against Los Angeles at LA, 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 unearned run. Walked 2, struck out 3, but threw 95 pitches in those 5 innings. That was that last week, September 24th.
Okay. Oh, God.
I know. It feels like a universe ago.
It feels like a year ago.
Yeah, it was 2 Tuesdays ago. It was literally two Tuesdays ago.
Look, that's good to bring up too, because usually the advantage will go to the hitter once you see a guy multiple times. And of course, the Padres are seeing Walker Buehler again, so it makes these tough, right? I mean, it's hard to be perfect. It's hard to go out there and feel like you have I think you can go out there and feel confident and feel like you've got a good game plan, but they're going to go out there and they're going to try to get at you any way they can. So it's going to be a good matchup.
The one time that Michael King faced Los Angeles at home this year was May 10th, a 2-1 Padres victory, 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs at all, 3 walks, 11 strikeouts. So he dominated Los Angeles here, his one opportunity. The one thing I would really note, just looking overall, and this is for King kind of overall, but especially against L.A., he gave up 11 runs this year against L.A., 7 earned, 4 unearned runs. The Padre defense, for whatever reason, and I truly feel like it's nothing but just luck distribution, has made more errors behind King on average than they have other pitchers. I don't think there's any correlation or any causation, I should say, to the correlation, but it does remind you of something we remembered in Game 1. The Padres are going to have a hard time beating this team if they are the worst defensive team on any given day. So play good defense tonight. That's a key.
Yeah, and Michael King has talked about his college coach telling him out after error, because he's had, like you said, a lot of errors happen behind him this season, and the importance of just refocusing, resetting, not allowing that to grow into more damage. And the other storyline to watch here, too, is how does this affect tomorrow's game? Because I don't know that Martin Perez is going to start tomorrow's game. I think that there's a chance that Sean Reynolds, who was in full uniform yesterday, working on the field, and is not currently on the roster, so it begs the question of what might happen, might be starting this game. And so what does that mean for... I don't either. Listen, if it's not Martin Perez, I think it should be Martin Perez. I think that you give him a chance. You let him go out there and do what he's done for you all season long, since the trade deadline. And has helped this team get to this point. And I think that, look, I understand Sean Reynolds has heat, and he's a different look for the Dodgers. They haven't seen him. I don't think that they've seen him yet this year. However, he's also recovering from a knee injury that he had in the minors. It was curious to see him out there working. He's not currently on the playoff roster, so that means they would have to make a change for an injury. And that, I don't know what that would mean. I don't know who might possibly be injured. So that is totally speculation. I don't know who is starting tomorrow. But you're probably looking at more of a bullpen game tomorrow. And so what kind of effect does tonight have on both teams? Because the Dodgers are probably looking at the same thing.
I just even am popping through A.J. Casavel's latest column, and he brings up the potential of starting Morejon tomorrow and then going to Perez right after him and kind of doing an opener/bulk scenario.
Yeah.
I get that, but nonetheless, I would just keep it simple, stupid. Not get out of our zone. Adrian Morejon hasn't started any games this year. The Padres have literally never used an opener once all season. Why do it in game 167 of the year? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I would start Martin Perez. He's got the playoff experience. He's done it before. He understands a big game. He won a World Series with the Rangers last year. I think you ride or die on some of your guys. I really do, in terms of being able to trust them, because you've trusted them during the regular season. And I understand matchups. I'm not saying you keep them out there for 6 innings. Maybe you don't.
Yeah,
maybe you do.
maybe
I don't know.
3 innings.
Right.
I mean,
right, but I think it's, gives you and then if he is going to start tomorrow, it begs the question of how many of these pitchers have thrown a bullpen? Where's their workload? Where are things at? So there's going to be a lot of questions depending on how tonight's game goes in tomorrow's game. But for the Padres, look, you can't think too far ahead. You got to think a little bit. But you want to win tonight's game and then worry about tomorrow later.
Yeah, I mean, listen, game 4 is going to happen.
Yeah,
so,
it's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, so
there's no off day.
Right. So I get the plan, and I want to get back to Michael King real quick, but first, let's finish off this discussion here, because if Perez is an option and if a bullpen day is an option, Dylan Cease on 3 days rest has also, which is something we talked about before. Now it's been brought up enough times to know that the team has thought of it as an option as well. And I'm going back to the same thing I said last hour. I look for playoff teams that get out of their comfort zone, and when they do it, and usually that's the sign of about to fall off the cliff. Mm-hmm. I do not want to see anyone on 3 days rest in these playoffs. There's no reason for it. You don't need it. If the Padres are facing elimination tomorrow, Dylan Cease, who, by the by, has given up a run in every one of his playoff appearances so far in his career. Not too many, but he didn't pitch well for the White Sox. He didn't pitch great for us, and he didn't pitch great in relief the one time that he did. Why is that a better option? A guy who's never done it one time in his career over the option of utilizing relievers in relief roles or utilizing a starting pitcher in a starting pitcher role. I am furthermore confident in Dylan Cease that if you give him his full rest, if a Game 5 comes up, that he is going to outduel whatever the Dodgers throw out there on that game.
And the other question there too is Yu Darvish, because Yu Darvish would be on regular rest come Game 5. So if it goes to a Game 5, they'll have that off day. He would be on regular rest. It does beg the question, do you mess with the rotation? Do you do all this and that? But I think you do take a starter in that Game 5. It makes tomorrow a little tricky still, but if you have to get to that Game 5, I think you absolutely go with one of your horses there.
All right, before we get out of this break, let's go back to Michael King, because that was the topic of the segment. And King had an opportunity at yesterday's press conference to be asked about, and I see we got Schilt up there right now. Schilt, we know what he said yesterday, Adam. It was a non-answer. Well, we might do this and we might do that. And
all
you'll find
options
out
are on the table.
Yeah, all options are on the table. We'll let you know when you need to know. So we don't need to play that.
Which is what he can say. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, he's always going to say the same
He's going
thing.
to keep it cagey, just like the Dodgers will.
Yeah, no big deal. But let's hear what Michael King had to say about facing Shohei Ohtani. That's what I want to know about in today's game, is his game plan taking on the mighty Shohei. And again, the key to that is to get the 7, 8, and 9 out first. Let's hear from him now.
Michael, Yu Darvish did a nice job against Ohtani last night, held him hitless, and he goes 0 for 4. How do you view that matchup at the top of the lineup in particular, and really within the context of their lineup 1 through 9?
Yeah, all credit to Darvish. That obviously he's what makes them go. If you can control him, and I also think if you can keep runners off base when he's on, when he's at the plate, is a huge thing. So he did a phenomenal job. He's Shohei Ohtani, so he has the ability to get you even if you execute pitches. And it's really just limiting the damage when he's up there. So I'll definitely be asking Darvish what he was seeing and what his approach was.
They're right. I mean, it's Shohei Ohtani. He's going to be tough to get out. Yu Darvish definitely was able to do it with 2 groundouts and a strikeout. Tanner Scott was able to do it. So they're going to be communicating. They're going to be talking about what could work. All the pitchers will. Even Joe Musgrove, who is not able to pitch right now, is going to be communicating what he's seeing. So they're going to be talking to Ruben Niebla and talking about what could possibly be the right game plan against this lineup. But Shohei Ohtani, he's absolutely right, Michael King. You execute your pitch perfectly, and he might still get you. But you got to be able to relinquish that with just him, just a solo homer if he gets it, just him getting on base. Don't walk the guys in front of him. Don't allow him to do that 3-run home run that he did the other night, or a grand slam or anything like that. You keep him contained as best you can, and then also you look at the guys behind him. You look at Mookie, you look at Freddie, and whether or not you feel like more comfortable getting them out in any certain situation. But I think I'm going to be excited to see Michael King and Shohei Ohtani. I think Michael King's going to come prepared and come with his best stuff.
100%. And again, now, I'll just keep repeating it. Like, you attack Shohei Ohtani every time you have at the beginning of the game, you attack Shohei Ohtani. Our starters, if that thing rolls around and they didn't get the job done, and 7, 8, 9 are on, or 8 and 9 are on, but there's a base open, now I'm going to take advantage of the fact that Mookie Betts is struggling. Now I'm going to take advantage of the fact that Mookie is in his head in the playoffs, and I'm going to attack Mookie Betts in that situation instead of Shohei Ohtani. It's standard strategy.
I'm interested to see what happens tonight. I can't wait, because it's the question that gets asked to Mike Schilt, like in every press conference. How do you game plan Shohei Ohtani? And I think really, I look at it and it's like, he's amazing. Shohei Ohtani deserves a lot of accolades and credit, and he gets it because of what he's been able to do, but he's just one player. Don't let him hurt you in the super big moments, and in the other moments, go, don't back down. I think that you go after him and you give it your best shot, and you try to get him out, and it's happened already in this series multiple times. He's not untouchable. He's not completely, get 10 for 10 every time. So I think that you don't back down in the situations where you don't need to.
Let's take a timeout. when we come back, you just heard from Michael King. Let's also hear from a couple more Padres as we continue. And, of course, we'll bring you some live coverage later in the program from inside Petco Park. Mike Schilt is scheduled to speak today at 1:30.
Yes. And other people.
Yeah, and an unnamed Padre at 1:45. So let's be conspiratorial. Who could it be? Oh, my goodness.
Who could it be?
Let's figure it out. Well, we'll bring that stuff to you, and so will Gwen and Chris when they jump in here at 2 o'clock. So stay tuned all day long as we catch you down to Padres baseball. Live from Baja Ricks, it is Annie and Elsten on The Fan. Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on an iPhone 16 Pro. Go for it. It's your Padres Deep Dive Hour. We are live at Baja Rick's. Welcome back, everybody. Annie Halburn, Craig Elsten, Braden Soprano. We are all together now.
There's a distinct smell in the air.
There is. Well, you know, it's downtown.
It's downtown.
And when you get downtown, you may smell many
anything
things.
happens. Yeah.
You may smell many
Enjoy
things.
the ride.
I smelled some things on the walk down here this morning, and others that were better than that. And then here we are.
Everyone get down here safe. I would get down here early. You know it's going to be a packed house in downtown today, so always can come over here to Baja Rick's and hang out before waiting for the game.
Yes, the chat is on to exactly what's happening to us right now.
Could make for a better show, so we're going to go with it.
It's all good. It's all good in the hood. Yesterday, before Dave Roberts sullied his name to the nation, Manny Machado, in a calmer time, spoke to the assembled press inside the San Diego Padres clubhouse. News you can use and some sound you can hear right now on the Deep Dive Hour.
The mid-game meeting that you called in the dugout, when did that hit your brain? This is something I should do. Just immediately before that?
Honestly, I have no idea. Just came out and just trying to rally up the boys and get the guys going. It's a tough game. The game was far from over, and we have to continue to go out there and get 6 more outs, I believe it was.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Manny, how do you feel like you've grown since you signed with the Padres as a leader and step it up every single year and obviously leading the guys? They responded with four runs after you spoke to them.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows what the task in hand is here, and we're focused on that, and we're going to continue to do that every single day. They've shown it all year. This team has been resilient all year, man. They've been fighting and coming back from a lot of things and dealing with adversity, dealing with injuries, and guys have stepped up in big situations. 1 through 40. So we got to continue doing that.
How good has Michael King been lately?
Yeah, he's been pretty good. Been pretty good for us. Game on the line. Let's come back home. I don't think would rather have anybody on the mound, but have Michael on there for us.
Coming out of a dramatic and emotional win like last night, what's the mentality now as far as turning the page and facing tomorrow?
Honestly, I haven't really thought that far ahead. Just trying to get out here, get us going today. Kind of just get the body moving, and hopefully start game planning a little bit here for the matchup tomorrow, which is Buehler, and how we're gonna go out there and try to compete and try to beat them.
And finally, your thoughts on Fernando and how he's performing in this postseason, 9 of 14, no strikeouts, and showing his personality.
He's been on fire, man. He's been on fire. He's been carrying this team, since this is the Division Series, and it's been great having him. We all know what he was capable of, and he doesn't seem to shy away from anything. So, for us to get to where we want to get to, he's a big part of that.
There's Manny Machado yesterday in the clubhouse talking baseball, which was so nice, refreshing.
It was, and at that point when we were talking to him, Dave Roberts was either just speaking or hadn't spoke yet, so the comments hadn't come out yet about the ball being thrown to the dugout and what were the words he used? I don't know. It was the
unsettling
ball
video.
Okay, so Kevin Acee did get him on it, and I think was the only one. But Machado said, "I spoke about this last night after the game. I've already turned the page, and I'm just looking forward to playing in front of our fans tomorrow and preparing for another tough battle against a very good team." This is the approach you've got to take today.
That's it.
You don't want to do anything more today, And I thought Jeremiah Estrada also yesterday did an excellent job talking about growing up, going to Dodgers games. He's from the area, the kind of rivalries between fans and how it would get going, but also don't throw things down in the bullpen. And he said, you don't want me throwing something at you because I won't miss, right? So throwing something back. But it looked like Martin Perez had almost gotten hit by something. There were some other things thrown into the bullpen. So I don't blame them for being mad at all. But I thought he spoke really thoughtfully about just respect the game. This is a game that we all want to have fun with. We all want to be out there. Everybody loves being there. They love the fans. So just go out there and have a good time and don't make it any more than that. But for the players today, for the Padres clubhouse, for the Dodgers clubhouse, you kind of just want it to be good old boring baseball talk.
Right.
Give
It's
us,
not
give
gonna
us some
be.
cliches.
And that's the problem. It's not going to be, you know. Craig Calcaterra writes the Cup of Coffee newsletter, good newsletter. If you want to subscribe to it, I subscribe to it. And, you know, he's not a huge Manny fan overall. He made some Twitter comments today prefacing that, saying, you know, I'm not the biggest Manny fan overall, but saying that, you know, this is... This type of behavior, this is a distraction for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Here, let me quote this real quick from
And the
earlier.
other thing is you're looking for that is like
Thank you.
want your play to speak.
Bingo.
You want to go out there, you want to win the game, you want that to speak louder than anything. Like that's the point you're at right now, where really the only thing that's gonna shut this whole thing up is you go out and you win games and you advance, whichever side that is. Of course, Padres fan, you want the Padres to do it, but let your play speak louder than anything else.
Here it is. Craig Calcaterra retweeted Ken Rosenthal's column from today, in which he describes Manny's throw as punkish, right? Which means that Manny's a punk. He's throwing the ball in a punk manner. Craig Calcaterra writes, video of that quote-unquote sling, the video you posted, video of that sling makes the whole thing look laughable. Calling Machado a punk for it is even more laughable, and I say that as someone who isn't Machado's biggest fan. The regular season is better than the postseason for a lot of reasons, but a big one is that national reporters looking to play narrative makers don't have the time to do it in the regular season. Flaherty pouted and plunked a guy, stuff got chippy, Dodgers fans showed their butts, and Dave Roberts was too dumb to let it go. That's the story. Don't encourage this horse bleep.
I don't agree that Manny's throw was a punk move. I think it was a heated move for two teams that were trying to play in a very intense game, an intense situation. But I agree with the rest of it. Just you don't want to fuel it, right? Because what you're also doing, if you're the Dodgers, which I think is probably going to backfire on you, or has at least the potential to, is you're riling up the Padres more. You're getting the Padres more chipped, more mad at what's going on, more like what do we do? Why are we getting blamed for this? You know, I think that there was a feeling that coming off of the whole villain talk that they're trying to make things, I don't know, rough. You know, that they're not respecting the game. And I think that I know this is a clubhouse that absolutely respects the game. Like, you talk to these guys, whether it's Jurickson Profar, Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, the list goes on and on. They do respect the game. There's a mutual respect between who you're out there on the field with and the hardship that it takes to get to that level and to get to that place in the playoffs. So I don't at all see it that way, but this is the time for storylines and narratives. And I think for the Padres, again, you just want to go out there and you want to let your play shut all of that up.
You absolutely do. And just to be clear, because we're on the radio and you're not looking up at Twitter, Craig Calcaterra wasn't calling Manny punkish. He was reflecting what Ken Rosenthal said.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
He was calling out
Craig
Ken Rosenthal for Ken Rosenthal is calling Manny punkish. And this was my takeaway from it as well. As we said in the first hour, and I will repeat at least 8 times on today's show, this was a deliberate attempt to distract from the fact that the Dodgers are failing at their task. Okay? As the number 1 team, as the favorite to win the World Series, they are failing at their task right now. This is an attempt to turn the energy. This is a deliberate attempt to try and shift the narrative focus away from what's happening on the field to something that didn't even really necessarily actually happen. And I mean, it did, but what is it really, right? Yeah. And to turn it into something that it's not. This is an attempt to get our energy, the fans' energy wrong, to get the players' energy wrong, and to try and capitalize on chaos. And it was done, frankly, in a craven fashion. That was done with intent, what was done at the press conference, Mike.
Yeah, and I don't blame Dave Roberts for trying to find an edge. You're kind of trying to manufacture an edge if that's what he was trying to do. But when you put it out there publicly, it just opens the door for what really happened, and can we figure out what really happened, and can that video be surfaced? Jeff Passan just posted another angle. You don't see where the ball hits, but you see Manny throw it. Okay, now that's going to get analyzed to death, like the other video. And at the end of the day, look, this is something that happens every game by players all the time. Players are human beings. They are not robots out there. They're not going to do everything the way that a fan might expect them to do. And so, like, however he meant it, or however, because I'm not going to put that intent in Manny. I don't know how he exactly meant it. The ball hit the screen.
It's a four-hopper.
Bounced off to the field. Didn't injure anyone. The game went on. No one even noticed it. And if you look at the video, the original video, Dave Roberts didn't even notice it until the players came out and did their gesturing, which I don't blame them for. You're trying to find any kind of edge, right? But it's done. To me, it's like water under the bridge, right? Like, it probably should have been left in Sunday's game.
Well, it could have been left in Sunday's game. However, in order for this whole attempt to land at all, it needed help. Dave Roberts couldn't do it by himself. He couldn't just stand up at a microphone and say something ridiculous, and then this dumb video comes out. I mean, I'm watching the Jeff Passman. I'm sorry, that's a flip to the dugout.
It's on the ground.
There's there. He throws a three-hopper, which is what you do when you're throwing the ball to the ball boy, and it happens every day, every game, practically every inning. Something like this happens. But in order for it to turn into something else, you need the press microphone to be able to pick up that water and carry it. And Ken Rosenthal was the useful idiot for the LA Dodgers today. He picked up the water. He didn't just carry it. He poured some of his own by relitigating things when Machado was an Oriole, by relitigating things when Machado was a Dodger, and trying to lump it all into one big thing so that the throw is of a piece. And that of a piece is the piece that he's got in his head about what Manny Machado is as a person, and a man that has no bearing or reflection on reality.
Yeah, and I just don't know why Manny, I don't think Manny's trying to hit Dave Roberts. I just, and that's I bring that up because that's what Dave Roberts thought, and he thinks that was the case. And he said, me and Manny have a relationship, and, this is unsettling to me, and I just don't see it. I don't see where he's trying to hit Dave Roberts. I just don't see it, So, again, this is something that can be debated. It can be in the eye of the beholder. To me, it looks like not enough to even carry on day after day, or especially form an investigation with. And that piece for Ken Rosenthal, I think, is, I think if the Padres win tonight and Manny Machado has the home runs or the winning hits or something, it's going to make for an interesting interview, right?
Yeah, it will. Yeah. No, I mean, you could have a Chad Curtis moment where he comes up and goes, I ain't answering your question, bro.
I do think, Manny and Ken have a relationship, and I don't know, I don't want to speak to it. I don't know exactly what it is, but they do talk. And Manny, I think if you ask Manny, he's used to this. He is used to these kinds of narratives about him, and I think that he's done a good job in recent years of just trying to focus on the play at hand, on the field of play, but also he is competitive. He does have an edge, and why should he be a player that's not allowed to have that,
Oh, no, you're supposed to take it. You're supposed to sit back and take it.
Yeah.
If you're San Diego.
The other thing about this, too.
Yes.
He walks. Manny walks, so he throws the ball. The umpire, Trip Gibson, thank you, walks over to him. They have a few words, but then they put their arms around each other. It could have been hey, we don't want any problems, settle down. But it was, and Dave Roberts had a problem with it. Why can you throw a baseball at the dugout and then the umpire puts his arm around you? I don't like that, right? So I understand, Dave, where you're coming from. But if it was that big of a deal, would they have put their arms around each other? Would Trip Gibson, have had that moment with him? I don't think so. I think it would have been a stern, whatever. I think this was more of like a, hey, both sides are getting heated. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was, what are you having for dinner tonight, Manny? It's good to see you again. How's the family? How's your little baby boy? I don't know.
Well, just remember, not you, everyone, just remember that when this whole, multitudinous Manny and the sinister sling, like Ken Rosenthal came up with the best Hardy Boys book cover in history this morning. Multitudinous Manny and the sinister sling. Unbelievable. But when this happened, the dreaded incident, when it happened, what followed was Jack Flaherty top-stepping, standing outside the dugout to MF Manny Machado and challenge him to a fight after he MF'd him on the mound.
Yeah, exactly. What preceded that was Fernando getting hit, and then the sit the F down MFer, and then Manny gets to the dugout, and his teammates tell him about that, and So listen, again, it's two teams going at it, two teams in a dogfight, two teams in a heavyweight battle, trying to get the best of each other. That's all it was to me. It was just a competitive game.
It was. We got to take a timeout. When we come back, injuries could be a part of the story in Game 3, one on each side, both on the infield. What's going on with X? What's going on with Freddie? We will talk about that when we continue. It's the Padres Deep Dive Hour. Annie and Elsten with you. We are live at Baja Rick's just outside Petco Park. Come on down. Station is here live until 5 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Is join
This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings is football. Buffalo Wild Wings is football. Hey, San Diego sports fans, Buffalo Wild Wings is kicking off football season with 2 limited-time sauces. Try their new Buffalo Bacon Sauce for bold notes of smoky bacon, or get the fan-favorite hot barbecue before it's gone. Stop by your San Diego B-Dubs or order now for takeout and delivery with Buffalo Wild Wings. Go. Okay. It's the Padres Deep Dive Hour. Coming up at the top of the hour, 12 o'clock Sports Fix. We will have Sammy Levit in-house, 12 o'clock hour.
Awesome.
He'll be along around 12:40. A little bit later on, too, we'll play our silly game for today, Fast Money. For that, we are once again going to need 2 contestants here. Instead of playing the hosts, we're going to take on one another. Because we can. And because we have tickets to give away.
Yes, and we want to give those tickets away
Right.
and have some fun with the fans.
So we'll pit 2 of you against each other in the very popular bonus round from Family Feud, Fast Money.
It's
Get all promotion skids on it.
right.
You guys are going to be important. You're going to find our contestants. You're going to
It's an easy
sequester
game,
one of them.
I promise you.
It's a very easy game.
Yeah.
You're going to sequester one of them. You're going to bring them back. You're going to give them prizes. Straightforward. Right in your training. Right in your wheelhouse. It's going to be great. Okay. Game 3 coming up at 6:08 tonight. And there are 2 players that I've absolutely got my eye on coming into this game. Xander Bogaerts, from my understanding, was not made available yesterday, correct?
Xander Bogaerts came through the clubhouse, but very quickly. I didn't see him, but Mike Schilt said that he thought that it was dehydration.
Yeah.
And that he felt like Xander Bogaerts would be all right. He didn't come out for the optional workout, but a lot of players didn't come out for the optional workout. So we would have to wait and see for the lineup, I think, on this one.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I thought, watching it, that it looked like cramps. Cramps comes when you are dehydrated. When you're a little bit dehydrated, your muscle will cramp, and then you get some liquid in you, and you take care of it, and the next day you feel like absolutely nothing happened. So
I did see that Xander said to the media after, I'm trying to find it right now, but Xander said to the media after Sunday's game that he had cramps happening before, and it was a similar feeling, and it happened the last time he played in the playoffs or something like that. So I think that's what it may, most likely is, but we'll have to wait and see for the lineup.
Yeah, no doubt. If Xander's not in the lineup, then he has a hamstring injury.
Right. And there's something more there that, because cramps can be, fairly tended to.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that can be
electrolytes and things. Yes.
Precisely. I mean, it can be worked out with a masseur and a bottle of Pedialyte in about a half an hour. So hopefully that is the case for Xander Bogaerts. And of course, they won't tell us. They shouldn't.
Right.
And we'll know when the lineup goes out, just like you said. Now, the other guy is Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
And Freddie Freeman, he overdid it. Clearly, he overdid it on Saturday in Game 1. He took advantage of whatever athletic trainers, hard work took place over the course of about 7 or 8 days after he sprained his ankle. A high ankle sprain like that, you would expect him to be completely out for, honestly, most of the playoffs.
Yeah.
He came back for Game 1, and hey, he swung the bat. He got a couple hits.
Stole a base.
And then he ridiculously and recklessly and really selfishly stole a base, relying on whatever adrenaline and shot was in his ankle and pretending like he was, froggy and that he could go out there and run. And then immediately, the very next day, he had to come out of the game because of ankle discomfort.
Yeah, and remember when he hurt it initially against the Padres, he left that night in crutches and a walking boot, right? So you knew that there was something going on that was more than maybe just like a roll, like, it was an actual sprain. But Dave Roberts said yesterday that Freddie Freeman was still sore yesterday. So he said he's getting treatment. They don't know anything else. The thought is he's going to play today, and if he can't, then he won't. And that's kind of where we're at, right? So we'll have to wait and see on that one for the lineup, too. And you would imagine maybe he's available off the bench if he's not in the lineup. But it's hard to know without knowing the severity of that injury.
Now, here's the thing. I'm honestly, I think in a weird way, Xander is more important to San Diego right now than Freddie is to LA. And it's because the contingency plan, if Freddie Freeman can't play for LA, Max Muncy plays first, Kike plays third. They take a little bit of a hit at the bottom of the order, but then they have Freddie Freeman waiting on the bench for one pinch hit appearance at a critical moment in the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th innings. That's not a terrible situation for Dave Roberts in terms of tactically. By contrast, if Xander Bogaerts can't play, that means your 6 hitter's out, and it means your only shortstop is out. And now you've got to either put Tyler Wade in your playoff lineup as your shortstop, or put someone else there. Put Cronenworth at short. You're not going to drag Merrill in from the outfield. You're not going to drag Tatis in from the outfield. So Bogaerts is somewhat irreplaceable right now.
He is, and he's just kind of getting going too. I mean, he was 2 for 4 over the weekend. He had the home run. He got a big hit. Doing a fine job for them in a series that they really need him. So hopefully it's nothing serious. Hopefully it is just cramps and something that a day off, especially some training time, some whatever he needs to. I'm kind of making a joke with electrolytes, but I think that is probably a little bit of it, right?
No, it is.
So whatever he needs to do to get that going, hopefully is the case. And I thought it was a good sign that he was able, when he hit the home run, he then trotted around the bases. Now it didn't look great, but he wasn't, completely unable to move on it. So hopefully it's what he said after the game and it's nothing too serious and he's able to work it out.
Soccer players get cramps all the time.
Yeah.
And are available in training a day or two later, no big deal. So it's a matter, again, not dissing anybody. They don't have to tell us the truth. It's crazy for them to tell the truth. Their actions tell the truth. So, Mike Schilt will carry that press conference live coming up at 1:30. I'm guarantee you he'll be asked.
Yeah, and they want Xander Bogaerts out there. There's no way that they're not going to put him out there if he's good to go. So exactly. I mean, if he's at all healthy and able to go and everything's okay, Xander Bogaerts is going to be the guy that they are riding on, not only to provide them with some offense, but some good defense as well. One of the pillars of their lineup. So it would be injury or nothing.
And the last thing I'll say on this is just me as a Padre fan, from a Padre fan perspective. I want to see Freddie in the lineup. I want to see him in the lineup. I want to see him try and make a go of it on a 30% ankle and see what that looks like. Because I think Freddie Freeman, for one pinch hit appearance, can probably lock in and be okay.
Yeah.
But Freddie out there trying to use the glove, can't DH him, although I still think they should. Just DH Freddie. Let the other guy have a day off. But seeing as we know they're not going to do that, I think that is the more dangerous version right now of Freeman, is waiting in the wings, hitting in the cage below the stadium for that one swing at the game, as opposed to being locked in third in the lineup. And then what happens if he comes out of the lineup? Kike Hernandez all of a sudden is batting behind Mookie Betts.
And even if Freddie's able to play today, you don't know about tomorrow and how that ankle might feel after a full day like it happened on Saturday. So a lot of question marks still for them.
Ton of question marks. Here's an exclamation point. We're halfway through the show. We're coming back with the 12 o'clock sports fix. All the sports news from the day and all the sports news we haven't talked about yet. Plus Fast Money, plus Sam Levit, all in the next hour of Annie and Elsten. 12 o'clock on a playoff Tuesday. Welcome back inside and actually outside Baja Ricks, everybody. It's your midday hang. It's Annie and Elsten here with you on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We are broadcasting live at Baja Ricks all day in advance of Game 3 of the National League Division Series between the Padres and the Dodgers. It's brought to you by Santos Super Premium Additive-Free Tequila from Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Sammy Hagar and world-renowned chef Guy Fieri. Santo, work hard, play loud. With Annie Halbrin and Braden Soprano, Craig Elsten here with you as we do every day at the midpoint of the show. We bring you all the news that's fit to speak in the world of sports.
Oh, time for lunch, eh?
Hey, Mom! The meatloaf! We want it now!
You see your mom cut the crusts off your bread?
Ma, the meatloaf!
Well, you probably missed a lot in the sports world. Don't worry, we've got you covered from high school to professional and everything in between on the 12 o'clock Sports Fix on Annie and Elsten. Brought to you by Team Kia of El Cajon. You should be driving a Kia from Team Kia of El Cajon.
We've got it all covered for you here, even on remote live from Baja Ricks. It's your 12 o'clock Sports Fix on Annie and Elsten. And Annie gets things started with a lot of baseball news.
Yes, well, some local baseball news happening right now. SDSU has just announced that Major League Baseball All-Star reliever and old friend Mark Melanson is the new Aztecs pitching development coordinator. A four-time MLB All-Star, Melanson played for 8 teams during his career from 2009 to 2023, including the Yankees, Astros, Pirates, Nationals, Braves, Padres, and Diamondbacks. In 14 seasons at the Major League level, Melanson posted a 37-40 record with a 2.94 ERA and 643 strikeouts in 732 relief appearances. He earned 262 saves, which ranks 36 on MLB's all-time list. So he will join SDSU, working with the players over there as their pitching development coordinator. Pretty cool.
Yes.
Luis Tiant, the Cuban-born ace with a unique delivery, who twice led the American League in ERA and threw a shutout for the Boston Red Sox in the 1975 World Series, has died, according to the Red Sox. He was 83 years old. El Tiante, as he was known, was an icon in Cuba long before he made a name for himself in the major leagues, and he ranks among the game's most accomplished pitchers not elected to the Hall of Fame. Old friend Matt Bush, a #1 pick in the MLB draft who spent 6 seasons in the majors.
I mean, friend is kind of a loose term.
I feel for him as someone who is obviously, he seems like he's struggling. He was arrested Friday in Arlington, Texas, charged with driving while intoxicated, evading arrest, and accident involving injury. Arlington Police Department Media Relations Coordinator Tom Siesko said that Bush, 38, fled from police who tried to pull him over for erratic driving, and shortly after that he was involved in a 4-car crash. Luckily, there were non-life-threatening injuries, so that is the good news. Yes, Bush was a very short old friend with the San Diego Padres. He was the #1 pick in 2004, previously spent 39 months in prison for a drunk driving incident that left a 72-year-old man seriously injured in 2012. So honestly, I hope Matt Bush gets the help he needs. The Padres will take on the Dodgers today for Game 3 of the National League Division Series. It'll be Walker Buehler on the mound for the Dodgers, Michael King for the Padres. The series is currently tied 1-1. First pitch, 6:08 p.m. at Petco Park.
The National League resumes today. The American League took center stage yesterday, and Braden's got the playoff story.
And it was a fun one yesterday in Cleveland as the Detroit Tigers were able to beat the Guardians 3-0 as they got a 3-run homer from Carpenter off of Emmanuel Clase, the biggest swing for Detroit in a very long time. So Tigers win at 3-0 over the Guardians. Royals over the Yankees 4-2 last night. And after last night, the American League, all division series are now tied 1 game apiece. Today it will be Phillies and Mets getting underway at about 2:08 p.m. Pacific time. Aaron Nola and Sean Manaea. As for the Padres and Dodgers, that will get underway at 6:08 p.m. Pacific time. Walker Buehler and Michael King. Look at the scoreboard.
All right, now let's take a look at other things happening elsewhere in the world of sports. Game 5 of the WNBA semifinals tonight. That pits host Minnesota against Connecticut. The best-of-5 series tied 2-2. The winner moves on to take on the New York Liberty. That game tips off at 5 o'clock. If you're looking for an hour of non-baseball pregame activity this evening, maybe you're at home, if you're watching from a bar, whatever, you can watch that for an hour. The NBA preseason is coming to North County, San Diego tonight as the Los Angeles Clippers host the Brooklyn Nets at the new Front Wave. Game is an announced sellout. So if you're looking for tickets, secondary market probably could get you on that. One team that will not be relocating to Oceanside is the San Diego Mojo. They announced yesterday a new lease agreement with Viejas Arena covering the next 2 seasons. Also good to note that there will be 2 more seasons.
Yes,
for the
that's
Mojo.
Great.
Mojo did quite well in their first season, made it to the final game. 3 games in the NHL tonight, including St. Louis at Seattle and Boston at Florida. That game will be played in Surprise, Florida, despite Hurricane Milton being about 24 hours from landfall in western Florida. The Panthers did cancel a ring giveaway event for the fans that was scheduled to take place the day before. They cited the hurricane as the reason why they canceled the event, but they aren't canceling the game, which they still expect the fans to attend.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
What?
Like, attend the game tonight, evacuate tomorrow.
Oh, no,
You
come
can wait till
on.
tomorrow to evacuate.
That's tomorrow's problem.
Yeah, that's
Don't
a Wednesday
put people-
issue.
Oh, no.
I mean,
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong, indeed. Meanwhile, the Tampa Bay Lightning announced they're relocating to New Orleans for the week because, hurricane. But they'll still play the game in Surprise, Florida today. Surprise! No hurricane yet. According to ESPN's Kevin Weeks, Igor Shesterkin, the great goaltender of the New York Rangers, has rejected a deal that would make him the highest paid goaltender in NHL history, 8 years, $88 million. He'd like some more. And some MLS news for you. Former U.S. men's national team head coach Greg Berhalter has found his soft landing after losing his gig as America's top soccer coach. He's now the head coach and director of football operations for the Chicago Fire. So if you're a fan of the Chicago Fire and MLS, prepare to get frustrated with Greg Berhalter.
I feel like there's a show called Chicago Fire.
Yeah,
Chicago
right?
PD, Chicago Fire.
Right, yeah. Probably a pretty decent
But he's probably
show.
not the
I think he'd be a better hire for the TV
hire
show.
for the TV show. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I think he might be a
well.
great hire for the TV show. Those dour eyes staring in going, the fire burns. As for the rest of it, how about Braden? He's got a football, NFL firing
and
and more.
engineering problems. Yes,
Tons
Braden's
of
got it
engineering
all.
problems.
Someone called Prosser.
Isn't it always when the engineer leaves that then there's problems again? Right?
Someone called Prosser. Get it back down
We've
here.
used 3 different headsets for this particular deal, and every time I hear screeching in the background, I just assume it's the trolley.
trolley.
The trolley
Right.
makes so much noise down here. We got some football news for you. Angry bettors behind growing abuse of NCAA athletes. Abuse by angry sports bettors is one of the most common types of harassment college athletes receive, making up at least 12% of publicly posted social media abuse, according to a new analysis conducted by the NCAA. The NCAA partnered with data science company Signify Group, which analyzed social media accounts for more than 3,000 college athletes, approximately 500 coaches, 200 event officials, and 165 teams during the 2024 college football playoffs, men's and women's basketball tournaments, men's and women's college world series, and volleyball and gymnastics championships. The NCAA, which will publish the full findings Thursday, released an expert on the sports betting to ESPN on Tuesday. Apparently, angry sports bettors are the individuals who engage in problematic and intrusive communications due to match events and results contradicting bettors' predictions.
Oh, wow.
Another can of worms unopened by
They're going to have to
college athletics.
figure out who those people are.
Yeah,
Okay.
There's a lot of them.
All
There's
right.
like 3,000 cases. Biggest news in the NFL, the New York Jets have fired head coach Robert Saleh on Tuesday amid the team's 2-3 start to the season. Owner Woody Johnson announced defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich will be the interim head coach. This morning, I informed Robert Saleh that he will no longer serve as the head coach of the Jets. Thanked him for his hard work these past 3.5 years and wished him and his family well moving forward. This was not an easy decision, but we are not where we need to be given our expectations. And I believe now is the best time for us to move in a different direction. Is now the best time to fire a head coach when you have like 13 more weeks?
Sure,
left
I mean,
in the season?
week 5, why not?
After
Guess
they
you get
came
it
back
done.
from London.
I think it's so funny that they tried to make it seem like it wasn't a story for so long. No, everything's fine. Everything's fine. No worries here. And then you get the firing,
That's it for football news for you.
Well, guys, I just want to let everybody know that in 5 hours, 57 minutes, and 10 seconds, Shohei Ohtani bats. Fox 5 just wanted to let you know that.
Really, Craig?
5 hours, 57 minutes. Okay, 5 hours, 56 minutes now, guys. Ohtani bats in 5 hours, 56 minutes. We'll keep you up to date. We'll go ahead and let you know. I don't have a little cartoon graphic to pop up over my shoulder that just has Shohei as an anime superhero, but
Guess what? How many hours are there?
5 hours, 56 minutes now.
5 hours, 56 minutes till Fernando Tatis Jr. and Luis Ariz also come to the plate.
Well, I
or
mean,
Luis Ariz, it would be leading off, yes.
They'll have to wait for Ohtani.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, right now, the way these guys are hitting, I think you got to give them the props too. Especially Fernando. Fernando's got the numbers right now that are deserving of a playoff shout-out.
It would seem like that. I would love to have imagined that the graphics department at some point in the last 2 days worked up a Tatis graphic. Tatis bats in 3, Tatis bats in 5, But I'm not going to hold my breath.
Yeah, I wouldn't hold your breath.
Not going to do that. That wouldn't make any sense. Okay. Here's what's coming up. That was your 12 o'clock sports fix for Tuesday, October 8th, 2024. We've got the great Sammy Levit on his way to this location. He says he'll be here live around 12:40. So normally we play silly games around 12:40. We are going to push up silly games into our next segment. And because we're on location, we're doing it live. So, Hamby,
do your magic.
Do your thing, my friend. Go find us 2 contestants from our lovely captive audience. And we are going to play Fast Money up next. The bonus round from the Family Feud game show. Earlier this morning, you didn't see me while I was doing it, but earlier this morning, I was surveying the crowd of Ben & Woods here at Baja Rick's. I turned over that survey material to our resident Ray Combs, Braden Suprenant. He has comprised the Fast Money questions, and we are going to play the game, and whoever wins the game today will receive a pair of tickets to see Sublime with Rome at Gallagher Square on November 23rd. Tickets on sale now. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Fast Money sports questions, you said?
There's only 2 in there, but there's still 2 sports questions.
Well, I like that.
Little tease.
Little tease. Okay. Fast Money next. Sammy Levit afterwards. Fun 12 o'clock hour. In the 1 o'clock hour, you'll hear from Mike Schilt live from inside Petco Park and more as we continue toward 2 o'clock. Live from Baja Rick's, it's Andy and Elsten on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Hey, San Diego sports fans, Buffalo Wild Wings is kicking off football season with 2 limited-time sauces. Try their new Buffalo Bacon Sauce for bold notes of smoky bacon, or get the fan-favorite hot barbecue before it's gone. Stop by your San Diego B-Dubs or order now for takeout and delivery with Buffalo Wild Wings. Go. 12:19 on the Fan. It's Andy and Elsten. We are live at Baja Rick's. Time for today's silly game. And today's silly game is Fast Money. Hold for bumper. No bumper.
No fielding
there it
here.
is.
5
Joke's
questions,
on you.
1 minute, endless possibilities. Good luck, because
That's Shohei Ohtani
you'll
was
need
up.
it on Fast Money with Annie and Elsten.
Yes, a reminder, 5 hours, 48 minutes, 7 seconds until Shohei Ohtani bats. But nonetheless, we
Good
persevere with Fast Money. It's the bonus round from the very popular Family Feud game show, where today we have 2 contestants battling head-to-head, attempting to win a pair of tickets to see Sublime with Rome at Gallagher Square on November 23rd. Our first contestant is Justin C. Hello, Justin.
Hey, how you doing? Representing Oceanside, California out here. O-Siders, baby. Let's go.
Appreciate you. Justin, I know we've met you in the chat before, but tell all of the listening audience just a little bit about yourself.
Well, like I said, I'm from North County, San Diego, born and raised Oceanside, California. Run a tailgating group in Oceanside
Nice.
for the Chargers.
Yeah, I know you do. I
Yeah.
know you
And
do.
also
You had to
for
bring it
all
up,
things
but-
San Diego FC and the Padres.
Love
So
it.
Are you a pirate or a wildcat?
I'm actually a Lancer.
Oh, wow. A Carlsbad Lancer?
Yeah, my son plays for the Lancers too. Shout out to him. He's a running back. He just hurt himself
That's not
just
good.
this last weekend. But,
Someone
God
hurt him,
bless
right?
Yeah.
Probably ran into him.
Yeah, for real. I
Fair
appreciate
enough.
you guys.
All right, Justin, you're going to take on Chris.
75% O-side up there.
Well, listen, Chris has been sequestered by our staff. Justin, here's what's going to happen. It's very simple. Our resident Ray Combs is Braden Soprano. As mentioned, we've already previously surveyed a studio audience to get their most popular answer to 5 questions. Ray's going to read you them questions. You're going to try and get the most popular answer. I'm going to write down what you said.
Okay, great.
Then Chris is going to come in. He can't repeat the answers that you give.
So you got an advantage
You
on
do
this.
get an advantage going first.
Hey, he's the one that told me to go first, so.
There it
Yeah,
is.
that's on him.
There it is. And then we'll tally it all up at the end, and whoever wins is going to see Sublime. Sound good?
Sounds great. Let's do it.
All right. Good luck to you. Let's see what Braden's got for you.
All right, 1 minute on the clock. Clock will start when I ask you the first question. Again, you want to get the most popular answer. Name a popular New York sports team.
Yankees.
Sure.
All right, that's a good answer. Name a popular way for people to exercise.
Jeez, just running. Yeah.
Running.
Yeah.
All right, name a
Jeez,
problem
Lee.
that could occur while kissing somebody. A
Oh,
problem that
food
could
in
occur.
the mouth.
Food in the
you
mouth.
got a
he
quick answer
says.
for that one.
Name a product that might be disposable.
A condom?
Wow, yes, that's an answer.
All right, probably not going to be on the list. Name a professional sports team which has a bird as its name.
God, I hate the Ravens, so the Raven, yeah.
The Ravens it
Ravens.
is. All right, Justin, those are your answers.
All right.
that
Good
it?
luck. Yeah, that's it. That's
That's
it.
it. 5
Fast money.
questions.
It's fast money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it goes fast.
That was the
On the game show, it's 15
All right,
seconds.
thank you, everyone.
Yeah, we give you 60 because we're nice, and it's the radio. All right, here comes Chris.
I feel like giving things away.
We do. Welcome to Fast Money, Chris.
Hey,
Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, dude. This is good.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself before you play the game.
Born and raised San Diego. Big fan of your guys' show.
Thank you.
I told my girlfriend I'm officially transitioning to an old man because I just listen to talk sports radio very consistently now.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well,
What high school did you go to?
Mount Miguel.
Mount Miguel. So we got a Matador versus a
Yeah.
Lancer today.
All right,
Okay,
I
I
like
love it.
Okay, so here's how it works, Chris. Justin's already given his answers. Those answers are locked. You can't repeat his answer. If you
Okay.
do happen to repeat his answer, you'll hear me say try again.
All right.
Okay? Braden's got 5 questions for you. You're looking for the most popular answer, just like Family Feud.
Got it.
And whoever wins, wins. Good luck.
Beautiful.
All right, here we go.
All right, question number 1. Name a popular New York sports team.
Mets.
All right. Name a popular way for people to exercise.
Weightlifting.
Okay.
Name a problem that could occur while kissing somebody.
Caught in their braces.
Braces. Caught in the braces. I love it. Name a product that might be disposable.
Lighters.
Lighters.
Name a
disposable.
professional sports team which has a bird as its name.
Falcons.
Falcons it is. There we go. All right. All right, answers are locked in. Chris, good job, my friend. I appreciate you both. It is now time to
do the
review.
math there,
I'm
too?
going to do the math.
All
I've
right.
got your scores. I've got your answers. Here we go.
Name a popular New York sports team. Sounder.
Justin said Yankees.
Yankees. The number one answer, 28 points.
28 points for Justin. Chris said Mets.
12 points.
12
Fifth best
points.
answer.
Turns out Yankees are more popular than the Mets. No surprise.
It was Yankees, Giants, Rangers, Knicks, Mets in that order.
Yankee. Okay. All right. Giants, number 2, huh? Interesting. Okay, on to question 2. It's 28-12, Justin, so far.
Name a popular way for people to exercise.
Justin said running.
Running. We got jog. We'll count that.
Yeah.
30 points.
30
Jogging.
points. Okay. And Chris said, sorry, it's my turn. Chris said weightlifting or weights.
Weightlifting, 0.
What?
That's what it said.
We don't know who's actually.
I mean, these were some skinny people that
Walk,
were here
jog,
earlier.
aerobics, stationary bike.
That's brutal. All
of-
cardio.
lot
All
of
cardio. Chris gets
non-weightlifters.
pumped, man. Chris gets pumped up. He's no cardio guy. He's out there pumping iron. All right, it is currently 58-12, but things can change quickly. Things can change quickly in fast money. Let's go to question number 3.
Name a problem that could occur while kissing somebody.
Justin said food in your mouth.
0.
Oh. Chris said, what if your braces get locked up? That seems really bad.
Braces locked together. Number one answer. 24 points.
Are you serious?
Yes. Braces locked together.
Amazing.
24 points.
58-36 is the current score. Look at that. It's tightening up. All
Bunch
right,
of
let's go.
cross-country running teenagers did this one. My lord.
We asked 114-year-olds,
That's
what's
right.
the toughest part about kissing?
Well, I'd really kiss her, but she's got braces and I have braces. That's an internal fear of mine.
All right, 58-36, question number 4.
Name a product that might be disposable.
Well, Justin said a condom.
0.
Oh, I mean, it is, but Chris said a lighter.
A lighter. Also 0.
Oh. I was going to say, well, let's see, something disposable, a razor.
Razor's the third answer. Diapers is the number one answer with paper products. Razors, camera, cans and bottles, plastic.
Camera. Old folks list disposable camera. Come on, everyone's got a phone now.
I know.
Anyways, okay, so to the final question is going to come down to bird teams.
Name a professional sports team which has a bird as its team name.
Justin said Ravens.
0. Nobody said the Ravens.
Quote the Ravens, never more.
Nobody said the Ravens.
Oh, my goodness. If Chris can get 23 points or more on Falcons, he'll win.
Number 3 answer, Atlanta Falcons. 14 points.
14 points is not quite enough. And Justin is today's champion. Congratulations, Justin.
Number 1 answer for that was Cardinals.
Yes.
For Arizona. Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Falcons, Philadelphia Eagles, Toronto Blue Jays, and the Seattle Seahawks. No
Interesting.
Ravens.
Interesting. No Ravens. Okay.
No weightlifting, no Ravens.
No food in the mouth.
But braces locking together.
That's amazing. You almost got the comeback just on the braces, and that was amazing.
That's a great answer.
Good job, Chris. Appreciate you. Congratulations, Justin. You're going to see Sublime with Rome at Gallagher Square on November 23rd. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. I think I heard that this is the last tour for Rome with Sublime. That after this, he's going to do something else, and the Sublime will have a new singer. So.
I do not know.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I just
But
heard
go
it.
check them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Here's what we're going to do. Take a quick time out here on 97.3 The Fan. Great work, Chris. Appreciate you. Justin, congratulations. Thank you so much. You're not just leaving because you lost, right? No, I'm sour. Okay, fair enough. He's like, that's it. Out. See ya. When we come back, postseason Sammy. He's here. He's dressed to the nines. He is ready to roll
We will talk to Sammy Levit as we continue live from Baja Rick's all day. Brought to you by Santo Super Premium Additive Free Tequila. It's Annie and Elsten on 97.3 The Fan.
Quitting.
Don't let AI dictate your fantasy lineup. Instead, get bite-sized fantasy football analysis in your ears. Listen to the Sleeper King podcast, giving you all the fantasy insight you need in just 20 minutes every day. Every league has a Sleeper King, and it should be you. Follow the Sleeper King on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome back, everybody. Live from Baja Ricks, it's Annie and Elsten. Craig Elsten, Annie Heilbrunn, and look who's here. It's Sammy Levit.
Hey, what's going on?
Good to see you, Sammy. How's everything going on this Game 3 day?
It's good. It's great to be down here at Baja Ricks. Beautiful, sunshiny day, and I'm almost a little disappointed that I can't be out here around like 4 or 5 p.m. because I'm sure downtown is going to be absolutely jumping. But, I mean, obviously, this is exciting tonight. Game 3, the NLDS tied at 1 would be exciting in and of itself, but with everything going on, if this wasn't already going to be a charged-up atmosphere, it certainly is now. So, hey, it's what you kind of live for, right?
Yeah, you know, Sammy, we've talked about it, obviously, a lot at the beginning of the show. You see this kind of stuff in soccer all the time. You don't see it as much in a sport like Major League Baseball, but it's what's called the dark arts. And what it means is when you can't solve it on the field, you try and find some way to change the momentum, whether it is a cynical foul, whether it is rolling around trying to turn a yellow card into a red, whether it's just an egregious delay. And I kind of felt like the 7th inning on Sunday was an egregious delay in an attempt to get the Padres off their game. Well, Dave Roberts has doubled down. He's tried to turn the narrative away from the baseball game and toward the behavior of the San Diego Padres, which is eliding the behavior of the LA Dodgers fans and instead trying to shift that narrative.
Right. You know, it's funny. The first part of this morning, I was saying it felt like Dave Roberts was grasping for anything for his team to latch on to because they don't have the edge the Padres have. They don't play or behave with the edge the Padres have. This is an edgy Padres team with personalities, with the Mannys, with the Fernandos, with the Profars, in a really good way. It's part of what has made them them. Whether it's the Mr. Irrelevant comment, whether it's the incident with the Nationals, it's part of what has made this season, and it's part of why the Padres are the team they are and have an opportunity to go win a World Series. It's part of it, not all of it, but it's part of it. But the more I even think about it, I don't know how much it's about his team than it's actually about taking the Padres' focus away from what's actually important.
Bingo.
And I think that's what the Padres, and you alluded to it earlier, I think that's what the Padres here tonight have to really keep in mind. Do not let your emotions run too high in what's going to be a supercharged up atmosphere. Reality is this series is tied at 1. Listening to everybody this morning, I think there's a feeling in this city right now like they're winning tied at 1. And they might have the better team, and they may have the momentum. But this is essentially a 3-game series against a really good team with the best player in the world right now on the other side. Do not lose focus. And that's what Manny was trying to do in Game 2, was get him to lock it in and not lose focus of the real goal. So, yeah, it's grasping for whatever reason. For his team to make the Padres' focus wobbly, whatever it is. I saw the video you posted, Annie. I saw the video that Jeff Passan posted at some point earlier in the day. I can't believe this has become like a 24-hour story now, and it's all on the Dodgers and Dave Roberts. I mean, I didn't give it any mind until Dave said something yesterday. Jack Flaherty alluded to it at post-game after Game 2, but it's hard to believe this was made such a big deal. That's the part of it, is like, even if there was a little extra zip on the throw from Manny, and maybe there was, this kind of reaction, sending the video to Major League Baseball, it all seems like a reach and kind of set up as something that, was in some room somewhere, the Dodgers and Dave Roberts said, you know what, let's try to make this a story. And look, to their credit, they have, but the Padres can't lose focus.
Presented by Charmin.
Completely agree there. And Sammy, you were in LA. You saw what the environment was like. You saw what the post games and the pre games and the players on the field, the intensity. What was it like there? What was it like there on Sunday? And how do you expect that to translate at all here at Petco Park?
Yeah, I mean, look, it was obviously an emotional atmosphere on Sunday. You never want fans to throw anything onto the field. I don't believe that Padres fans will do that. They certainly shouldn't. But this should be a raucous crowd here tonight. Let them hear it in every way, shape, or form other than throwing stuff on the field or leaping onto the field and, running on the field. You can keep it within the lines. I expect it to be, as you guys do, raucous. And this place should be fired up tonight, and it should be a great baseball game and a great rest of this series. But it was intense at Dodger Stadium. There's no way around it. I thought the Padres did a great job in Game 2. Being resilient, being tough, being together, and just not losing focus of what was at hand and scoring the late runs and responding to Manny's meeting inside the dugout. But it was intense. There's no doubt about it. It'll be intense here tonight, hopefully in a really positive way.
Sam Levit joining us here live at Baja Ricks, and we got into the starting pitching matchup, and this is where the Padres have built their advantage. It is built up to come to fruition today with Michael King taking on Walker Buehler. Buehler has given up 16 homers in about 80 innings this year. He's really homer prone. By contrast, King, the one time he faced him here at Petco Park, 7 shutout innings, 11 strikeouts. The Padres clearly hoping to ride King tonight to increase this advantage on the pitching side that the Padres have.
There's a clear advantage tonight, and that doesn't mean anything, right? We know in one game, but there's a clear advantage with Michael King and the way he's pitched as of late. I mean, quite frankly, he was great that night against the Dodgers. He had some shakier outings against the Dodgers. One to start his season in relief in Korea, which I think you can sort of throw out. One where he gave up a lot of home runs at Dodger Stadium, had some bad defense behind him. So there's been different types of outings for Michael, but that's not even talking about the Michael King of the second half, the Michael King we saw against Atlanta. That guy, if he shows up tonight, that is enormous for this team. And look, Walker Buehler has not been the same guy after the second Tommy John. Maybe next year he'll bounce back, but right now he's just not that guy. He is capable, though, I think, keeping the Dodgers in the game. So you probably are still going to have a pretty close game late, unless the Padres really blitz Walker Buehler and hit him hard, which they certainly could do. And to your point, Buehler's given up a lot of home runs, but there's a clear advantage for the Padres tonight. This is a big game for them. You don't win tonight, all of a sudden you're here in 24 hours facing elimination with questions about what you're going to do pitching-wise tomorrow. The options would be either some version of Martin Perez in a bullpen game, or you're throwing Dylan Cease on 3 days rest. And all of a sudden, it goes from the feeling I think people have now, where this series is tied at 1, but the Padres have the momentum between the feeling and the pitching matchup tonight. But in a series like this, it can change really, really fast if things don't go well tonight. So take care of business tonight. This is a big game. Look, 5-game series, it's tied at 1. Game 3 is always a big game. But, the pitching tomorrow, you don't really know what the situation's going to be or what they would go with. And maybe that depends on if they're ahead 2-1 or down 1-2. And hopefully it's up by a game.
You've watched Fernando Tatis Jr. work to come back this year. You've seen the struggles, and then him, working on that muscle strain and making sure that he's able to take the field when the Padres needed him late in the season. But postseason Tatis just hits a little different. What do you make of what he's able to do during this postseason, and just how electric he's been?
He's been awesome. I mean, what more could you ask? I mean, it's hard to believe that he was on the IL for 2+ months, not all that long ago. What a difference maker, and it's the energy, but it's also just the play on the field. I mean, you want to talk about setting the tone in 2 of these postseason games already. I think in the Atlanta series, you can very easily argue his home run, the second batter of the game, was the biggest swing of that series. It allowed the Padres, who were favorites in that series, to exhale. Game 2, they're down 0-1, hitting the home run against Flaherty. Allowed them to exhale. Then you have the Profar play, which added to it. Then Peralta hits the home run. All of a sudden, you're up 3-0. But it's wonderful. I mean, this is what Fernando's built for. He's a guy who cherishes the moment, who savors the moment, both with his results on the field and the way he plays, the flair he has for the game, the way he was, in right field and interacting with the fans. And hey, he's somebody who truly relishes in the spotlight of moments like these, and that's been on full display. He's a game changer, and maybe we forgot that a little bit because he was out for a couple of months, and even early in the year it was kind of a slower start and it was very up and down. Man, we've been reminded of just how much of a game changer this guy can be, and he's as locked in these 4 games as I've seen him in a Padre uniform.
I agree with you.
He is hitting the you-know-what out of the baseball. He hit that ground ball the other night at 119 miles per hour. That was the hardest hit ball he's ever had anywhere, regular season or postseason. It was a ground ball that ended up being a double.
Wild.
So he's just dialed in, locked in, and he's an absolute game changer.
Hey, that's a little bit too much to T-Stock. Fox just texted me, want to let you know, 5 hours, 22 minutes, 14 seconds, Shohei Ohtani will be up to the plate. So 5 hours, 22 minutes, 8 seconds. We will keep you up to date.
It's a good debate we have. Do you think that you walk Ohtani if you've got any guys on base ahead of him, or do you let the pitchers have at him?
I think you got to be really careful. Yes. I mean, I don't know if you're issuing him a literal free pass. Mookie is not swinging it well. The Mookie situation is really interesting to me because there's so much being made of this over in the postseason and his postseason struggles, and it's real. I mean, the last 2 and now the first 2 games of this series, it's real. Doesn't mean anything for tonight. He could hit 2 home runs tonight. Who knows? But the way he's talking about it, I mean, it feels like he's over his last 50 this season, which he wasn't at the end of the year.
Super
We're
down.
talking about 2 overs. Not that you want to go over in the postseason, but 2 overs in the postseason. Like, I feel like, and then they're talking about taking 400 swings yesterday. I'm just, the whole thing has me thinking like there's just a lot going on there. So if you believe that Mookie's in a deep slump, you got to be careful with him. Now you are always going to run the risk that, Mookie could do something right behind him, and you're going to have to deal with that. Look, that's when the Dodger lineup is going to be at its best. When Mookie and Freddie behind him, if he plays tonight, are doing what they can do. But look, any time, and I think maybe, I don't know if it was you who tweeted it out, Craig, I think any time he comes up as the tying or go-ahead run, and you got a base open, even if that means there's not actually first base open, but you push the other runners over to get to Mookie, I wouldn't have any problem with the Padres saying, you know what, you're not beating us.
That's it.
If Mookie beats us, cool. You're not beating us. And I would have no problem with that, and we'll see. Look, Darvish did a great job against him in Game 2. He's the scary guy. I mean, he could change this game in this series with a couple of at-bats. He's a one of one. So, yeah, I would have no problem if they did that. I don't know that they will, though, because they haven't shown through 2 games that's how they're treating him. That's not what they, it ended up being in Game 2 a little different because they had a lead.
And because Lux and Edman and Rojas didn't get on.
Another great point. Right. They've got to take care of business against the bottom of the lineup because then you have some options with Ohtani. Look, if he comes up with 2 runners on every time, well, then, it gets a lot harder to then load the bases for Mookie Betts. If he's coming up with nobody on, then go to first base, and Mookie, we don't care what the score is. You beat us instead, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, I even took it one slightly slice deeper in terms of I don't think the starting pitching should face Shohei in those exact situations we described. So, in other words, second or third time through the order, right? Coming up where there's a base open and he stands at the plate as the damage maker, the tying or go-ahead run. Now, if you want to bring in Morhone, if you want to bring in Tanner Scott to attack Ohtani left v left in a situation like that, I'm accepting of that decision. That's an aggressive managing decision. I'm accepting of that. The starters are the ones that I believe need to work around Shohei in those specific circumstances.
Right. Like, let's say it's, here, just hypothetically, let's say it's a 1-run game. There are 2 outs and Ohtani at the plate, and it's late. Let's say it's the 7th inning. Like, yeah, in that spot, I wouldn't recommend them walking Ohtani to put the tying run in scoring position for Mookie Betts. I don't care what Mookie's offer is. Yeah, you got to go to Tanner Scott or Morahone or whoever to go face him and try to get him out. I mean, look, the good news is that Morahone, even though he gave up a single, did get it in on the hands and break his bat.
Yeah.
Scott's been good against him. We shall see.
What are you looking forward to in this one? What are you looking forward to that's like kind of like a, because I know you do all your research, any stats that you've come up with or anything interesting?
Let's see. I have Mookie, a lot of Mookie stuff written down. A lot of, it's funny. Like the keys to these games, they honestly feel very obvious and kind of simple.
Yes.
Like, yeah, you got to control Ohtani. Yeah, you can't let Mookie get it going. Offensively, you got to be good. I did a thing about the home run ball. The Padres have hit a lot of home runs in the postseason so far, and a lot of home runs against the Dodgers here at Petco Park. Hitting some home runs. A key. You get some early home runs. I think it could really change the tenor of this game. As far as moments I'm looking forward to, I have those in my head.
I love it.
I'll miss this because I'll be on air, but Dave Roberts getting introduced. Manny's first at bat.
Yes.
And then anything that transpires after that. I mean, I think there's potential here tonight. I'm not saying punches are going to get thrown, but yeah, there's potential for fireworks tonight in a benches clearing situation.
If the Padres are ahead.
Yeah. Well, yeah, to your point. I mean, you're right, Craig, and it goes back to what we originally talked about. I don't think it almost feels in a much bigger sense like when they had the incidents against the Nationals, and maybe I was on with you, maybe I was on with Bennett Woods, maybe you just talked about it, but it felt at the time like, hey, don't get involved any further. What are you doing? Go beat them. You can beat this team.
Right.
You've got them already. Go beat them, and that's what they did.
Yep.
Yeah, I would really. You're making a good point. Could something happen? Yeah, but I try to avoid it because you don't want to see this team's focus get rattled.
That's when we'll lose.
Today. Right.
That's when we'll lose.
And that's to me, that's when this whole strategy from Dave Roberts and the Dodgers can be successful. If they rattle the focus of this Padres team, because I'll tell you what, and from people I spoke to, the last couple of days, the Dodgers have a lot of talent. I do not believe they have the intangible that the Padres have, and I just don't think it. I know other people that have been around it don't think it. Doesn't mean that the Padres are going to win the series, but there's something the Padres have that the Dodgers don't, and I think that's what we saw yesterday with what was said.
It plays in the postseason. It really does. I mean, it's one of those things that, even with the Mets and Phillies series, the Phillies are businesslike, but the Phillies still have that a little something,
Yes, they do.
The Dodgers just kind of lack it. They expect to be there. They expect to be in the race, but then it just kind of every year seems to, or at least the last few years, seems to not carry them.
And I think they got a lot of pressure. I mean, they've had two really early exits. They got swept by Arizona last year. I mean, yes, they've had pitching injuries. They are not at full strength. Okay, and look, if they lose this series, that's going to be the default excuse, is that, hey, we didn't have any pitching. Hey, Freddie Freeman was hurt. And there will be some truth to that. But the reality is they're the LA Dodgers. They spend a ton of money. They spent $700 million, more, $1 billion in the offseason. And, hey, you got to get past the divisional series after you win another 98 games. So, yeah, there's a lot of pressure on them. And the Padres are in a great position, but this is a best-of-3 series right now, and it's going to be won on the field and not by anything that was said in the last 24 hours.
That's it, my friend. It's a baseball game. They're going to actually decide this, not with a poll, not with an election, not with a scathing piece in The Athletic.
Yeah.
They're going to decide it with a baseball game.
What I really like, though, in general, just baseball fan-wise, this is great. We have two teams that don't like each other. This is good for baseball.
And that are good
These teams don't like each other. They don't get along, and one of them's going to go on to the championship series.
Would you call it a rivalry, Sammy?
Oh, my goodness. Any talk that this isn't a rivalry is nonsense. These teams don't like each other.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's get it on.
Vandiger just had a crying session over a ball that short up the net. I think there's a rivalry. Sammy, love you, brother, always. Can't wait to talk to you again down the road.
Great stuff, Sammy.
All right,
Thank
enjoy.
you.
Have fun.
That's Sam Levit. He's the best. He's heading inside. He's going to take care of everything. And, of course, he'll bring you the Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show today at 5:08 from inside the loft in the Western Metals building. Can't wait. Everything happening here today. 3 hours deep. 5 hours, 13 minutes, 5 seconds. We'll keep you up to date. Shohei's coming, folks.
Take a swing, my friend.
We come on back. Hour number 4 of the program, including you will hear from Mike Schilt live. That is coming up from Baja Ricks. It's Andy and Elsten on The Fan. Stay with us.
93.3 The Fan.
Each hour that peels off, we're just getting closer.
Shohei.
We're getting closer to Shohei Ohtani. That's exactly right. We're getting closer.
Shohei.
5 hours, 7 minutes, 5 seconds. Keep you up to date.
Closer and closer and closer.
He's coming up.
That's what everybody's waiting for.
That's it.
Shohei Ohtani's first at bat.
It's Game 3 of the National League Division Series. It is coming up at 6:09. I'm going to say 1 minute later.
6:08.
Yeah, 6:08, whatever. 6:08, 6:09. Yeah, you're right.
6:08, yeah.
That's what's scheduled.
6:09.
They have to be on time, though. As somebody that used to work for the video board, myself, they would get some serious flack for Major League Baseball if you're not first pitch at that time.
No,
so
I know.
They got the extra pressure. I'm sure. Is there a flyover again today?
Probably.
I think there is.
Just set your clock
Coordinating
ahead.
that's always fun.
There you go.
Yeah, shout out to Game Day Operations. Fun day for everybody. Here we go. It is Game 3. We are tied 1 game apiece. We should be nervous right now, like normally, you know? But it's a different feeling this year with this Padres team.
Feel confident.
Yeah.
Me too.
I think Sammy had a good point where he's like, it's 1-1, but on the winning side. And I think it's a good point. Like, it does feel like that. It does feel like the Padres have a lot of good things going for them and that this should be a game that they win. But at the same time, it is just 1-1. And even though it might feel like they're going their way, they still have to win 2 more games, right? So
if you flip the storylines going into today and the Padres were complaining about somebody in the Dodgers throwing a baseball at them, I'd be freaking out.
Yeah, you'd feel like
I would be like, we're worried about the wrong things right now.
Yeah,
In
exactly.
fact, I mean, we see it all the time on social media, the fun interactions between Padres Twitter and Dodgers Twitter. Dodgers Twitter is like mad at their own team. They're like, we're complaining about this right now?
And also they're being conscripted into subscribing to the Dave Roberts narrative. I mean, I've gotten a couple people this morning, how can you Manny Machado aggressively throwing it?
Aggressively throw.
We put the video up. I mean, for goodness sakes, the Dodgers spent a day taking something that didn't happen. It didn't happen. The ball was put out of play. It was a throw down from Higashioka to second base. The ball hit the dirt. The umpire ruled the ball out of play. Manny threw the ball out of play. That's literally what happened.
And if there was a little more zing to it, right? Who cares?
I know.
Who cares?
It goes against everything that those guys always preach in their press conferences. Control the controllables. Control what you can control. Let's focus on ourselves. Let's not focus on the outside noise. They're doing all of those things.
Yeah.
We're sure, and I know Adam's playing it back here, and there it is.
Oh, sick,
there it is.
dude.
Two hopper that short hops the fence, because that's what you do when you throw the ball to the ball boy, is you throw it low so it skips along, and that's literally what Manny Machado did.
If he threw a missile into the dugout, I'd be like, okay.
If he threw over the rail.
If he threw it into the dugout at all, I'd be like, okay, that's a little bit weird. But he throws it just like he normally would to the ball boy all the time, and Manny already throws the ball really hard anyway.
The Dodgers are trying to get this team and these fans to take the bait, and we aren't taking the bait. We are going to beat the Dodgers on the field playing a baseball game. What Dave Roberts did yesterday, listen, you and I are both big reality TV fans. This was a playbook straight out of the Real Housewives of Orange County.
Very below deck.
Yes.
Straight out of the challenge, when Johnny Bananas gets nominated and he's upset and he comes up with something to throw the house askew. This is it. It's dark arts nonsense. It's trying to deflect. And quite frankly, it was an embarrassing self-own by Dave Roberts to try and deflect the fact that his organization put the most money in history into a free agent pitcher that couldn't get out of couldn't get through 3 innings in game 1, that they traded for a dude at the deadline who melted down on the top step of the dugout and embarrassed himself, might as well have had tears flowing, that they have a first baseman who they shot up to play game 1 and then he went out and stole a base and got froggy and now he can't even play, that their star right fielder is 0 for 20-something in the playoffs. That they don't have a whole starting staff that's over here on the sidelines watching from the stands instead of being out there on the mound. as opposed to saying that the Padres are winning the series 1-1, I feel like the Dodgers are losing the series 1-1
Yeah,
right now.
they definitely put more pressure on them. They put more heat on their back now to go out there and prove that they are able to get it done in the division series, which they haven't been able to do the past few years, and which has come back to haunt them, and which, look, it doesn't seem like they're in the driver's seat right now for so there's a lot that putting that out there yesterday and making that a question and an answer inside of the Dodgers press conference. There's a lot that's domino effect that's unraveled because of that. I think for the Padres, you just can't lose your mental edge. You can't let any of this, as much as it might be easy to kind of let yourself start thinking about it or start thinking about the way that the national media sees you or how people react to you. You got to go out there and you got to go out there with the confidence that you know what kind of team you are. Don't let them get into your head, because you know what? You were able to get into their heads at Dodger Stadium. Don't let them kind of have that power back at your house.
Oh, that just sent Adam another angle that I just saw. It's a different one. It makes it even worse. It's coming from like high home, from a fan's perspective, and you watch Manny. And he just look at how he throws, just whatever.
Yeah, he just flings it over there.
Whatever.
Absolutely nothing to it. Just ta-da.
Unreal.
But that's the whole point. They're trying to make us chase him down this rabbit hole. Forget about it. Forget about it.
I have reviewed a ball skipping along the dirt to hit a dugout more than I've ever seen, like most things in my life.
And you know who has it? You know who has it? I know they have it because they don't care, and which is exactly the group that doesn't care, is that clubhouse down there at Petco Park.
Right.
That's 100%
They don't
right.
care. I mean, think about the guys that we have in there right now that just don't care. I mean,
yeah, and aren't analyzing or interpreting a ground ball that hit a dugout
it could be
rail.
something for like a young player like Jackson Merrill to get upset about that, but we know he's not one of those players. He's a mature player that can handle it. I thought, and we didn't really talk too much about this, but when all of that disaster was going on at Dodger Stadium, the Padres had their best pitcher in to deal with it. It's you.
Yeah.
I mean, you as a guy that's unfazed by the noise, unfazed by the moment, unfazed by things going around him and, explosions and everything else. He's like, I'm going to go out there and pitch. I mean, those are the type of leaders this team has.
That's right.
So, like, as much as they're throwing into this, and I think as broadcasters, it's our job to talk about it and talk about how ridiculous this is and fight back for the team, because the team is just going to be dialed in and focused on taking care of business. I think that adds to why I'm so confident in the next 2 days here at Petco Park.
The baseball game that'll be played, and again, they're going to play baseball at the end of all this. Oh, hang on, guys. Breaking news.
What time's Ohtani hit?
5-hour warning.
There you go.
We have reached the 5-hour warning, ladies and gentlemen. Shohei Ohtani will be batting in 5 hours.
I am so excited for the
keep you up to
actual
date.
baseball game to be played. Throw the first pitch, get it going,
But don't throw it too hard.
Don't throw it too hard, and don't throw it at anyone.
Yeah, God forbid you hit Ohtani the first batter.
Do not.
Could you imagine the fireworks that would?
Oh man.
Michael King yanks one early.
Let me tell you
Bang.
something. If Michael King hits Shohei Ohtani, I'll tell you right now, he is not intending to do that. I'm not even putting it in the baseball universe.
No.
Because these are the kinds of things that could unravel a
you
game
imagine
tonight and
he'd be
make clear.
back-footing
I
him?
guarantee
And that's
you
not
they'd throw
anything
him
he's
out
trying to do.
immediately.
Right.
Back foot him on a curveball.
Yeah.
Golly.
Hey, what's up, dude?
So, go play a game.
No
27
thanks.
outs.
Hey, man, it's like a defensive lineman coming off, hit the quarterback, and
Right.
throw it. Hey, I'm here.
That's the
I'm gonna be here all day.
Literally, this is what the Dodgers want. They want us to go Raiders. They want us to jump in and do the penalties. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have penalty flags in baseball, but that's exactly what they want. Get us a little askew, get us a little hot, get us out of our balance, and Braden said it perfectly. This team ain't built for that. This team is built to damage in these situations. And you know who's the guy who's always in the middle of it? It's Jurickson Profar. I believe that a situation
Little
will
pot
occur.
stirrer he is. It's great.
I believe a situation will come up today where they walk Tatis to get to Profar. I believe that is going to happen today. That they're going to get to a spot where they walk Nando to get to Jurickson Profar and put him back in the spotlight, put him right in the crosshairs, and that's where Jurickson loves to be.
I talked to Jurickson a little bit about it too yesterday, and he's caught up in a moment, right? Like I don't think he actually was trying to troll or do anything. I think that he was so happy about catching that ball and robbing the home run and keeping it inside the park there, that he just reacted in the moment like a kid would, and because I think it means a lot to him when he's considered as someone who maybe would disrespect the game or would try to show people up or would try to cause problems. Like, yes, he's edgy. Yes, he's competitive. Yes, he plays that way. But it's not without respect for the game and without respect for your opponent. It is for him just the nature of competition and having fun out there. I mean, it's just kind of who he is. So I think that there's a lot of guys right now that are kind of looking at it like, wait a second, you have us wrong. Like we're putting all the work in here. We're doing everything we need to be doing. And are we having fun out there? Yeah, but like this means a lot to us. Why shouldn't we have fun?
This Padres team is ready to go. I don't know about LA.
There's the angle I showed you guys, just for the YouTube people.
Yep, there it is.
The other thing, too, is like they're trying to get us to, get the Padres to retaliate. This is the team that doesn't retaliate anything. I mean, how many times have we heard people complain like, hey, why is the teams getting knocked down and we're not responding ever? I mean, when's the last time the Padres even threw at somebody anyway? Yeah. They're picking the wrong team to do that to.
They are.
Come on, go ahead and throw at us. Nah, we don't really do that over here.
Yeah.
Stay balanced. Stay in control. Out there, if you've been listening to us from the start, I approach every one of these games, every one of these opponents with a mixture of respect and determination. There's no reason to disrespect LA's team. Okay? They've got a good offense. They got great hitters. They're coming to play. They won the most games in Major League Baseball. They're not going to just walk into the stadium tonight and all show us their belly and roll around on their backs, and say, please scratch my belly. They're not going to do that. I have respect for their team more than they have for us. I have respect for their team. But the Padres have a bigger goal this year than just beating the bleeping Dodgers, okay? This team is built for something more than just this moment. And right now, I'm not sure that LA is built for anything right now other than melting down into a puddle of their own flop sweat. That's what I'm seeing right now from LA. And from this Padres team, all I want to see, and we've got to go to break because we got to get in line for Mike Schilt. Yeah. All I want to see is us to stay in our lane, and that lane is what Braden loves to say, standing on business.
That's right.
Just stand on business tonight. Take care of business, and when we're done dispatching this team, go ahead and treat it just like that. See ya, next team up. That's the attitude the Padres need to have. They are going for something bigger than just this game, this team. Let's go. Take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll get you even more hyped for this game, and we're going to bring you Mike Schilt live at 1:30. It's Annie and Elsten. We're live from Baja Ricks. It's presented by Santos, and it comes your way live on The Fan. Broadcasting live at Baja Ricks all day for Game 3 of the Padres and Dodgers and the NLDS. It's brought to you by Santo Super Premium Additive-Free Tequila from Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Sammy Hagar and world-renowned chef Guy Fieri. Santo, work hard, play loud. Okay, it appears the Padres have just put out their starting lineup. Hang on, allow me to properly search for this.
That is correct.
Here we go.
A lot of the same.
And starting lineup for Game 3
Who's at
of the
shortstop?
division series. It's good news. Xander's playing.
All right.
Here we go. Leading off and playing first base tonight, Luis Arraez. Fernando Tatis Jr. bats second and plays right field. Jurickson Profar is the left fielder hitting third. The cleanup batter, the third baseman, the captain of the team is Manuel Arturo Machado. Jackson Merrill will play center field and bat fifth. And yes, sir, Xander Bogaerts is in the lineup hitting sixth. And shortstop, your designated hitter batting seventh, David Peralta. Jacob Cronenworth drops to eighth. He is the second baseman. And time for another Higgy Bank deposit as Kyle Higashioka is your catcher batting ninth. For the Padres, Arraez, Tatis, Profar, Machado, Merrill, Bogaerts, Peralta, Cronenworth, Higashioka.
Great to see Xander Bogaerts out there. And you know that's probably was just a cramp thing and something that they got figured out pretty quickly. So looks like nothing really abnormal there, but just good to see all the guys in there that aren't supposed to be in there.
Yeah, I mean, there were two things you were looking for, right? Number one was Xander. And then really there's a huge, gigantic gap between that. That was the only important thing. And then the only other thing was, do you go Solano or do you go or do you go Peralta in terms of your DH option / first base?
Yep.
They're going to roll the way they did last game with Peralta in the lineup and with Arraez at first base, who made a couple of nice plays over at first base as Game 2 went forward.
Yeah, exactly. And like you've got the lineup that has had success for you in the past and a lineup with your heavy hitters the way that you like them, and with Jackson Merrill a little further down, which is what they did at the end of the regular season. So I think you're looking at a lineup that's, we're ready to go and ready to go against Walker Buehler, who, by the way, interestingly enough, a article came out about him yesterday where he got his watch stolen.
Yes.
This is actually really unfortunate.
At Santa Anita?
You hate to see it happen, because of a crowd surrounded him and his wife and then just stole his watch. It's $100,000 watch or whatever. But it was weird that it came out last night. I'm sure it was just a police report thing where it just ended up being, the timing of it ended up being last night.
Yeah,
but it's kind of more things on the Dodgers where it's anything except baseball is being talked about right now.
No kidding. By the way, just to let you know, we are going to keep on the air in this segment until Mike Schilt comes up, which will probably be about 8 minutes or so from now. And then we will carry everything Mike Schilt has to say live, and then we'll take our last break for today's show. So stay right here. You won't have to go anywhere to hear what Schilty has to say today. If you want to know what he has to say today, I could just tell you already. The boys are ready. They're going to compete. Xander's in there. He's feeling great. Shout out to our training staff, doing a great job. Michael King, he's ready to go. Heard good things from Ben Fritz, Ruben Niebla. Then he'll be asked a question about Dave Roberts. He'll deflect. He'll say, look, cuz, I'll answer the question. And then he'll answer the question and he'll say, we're not worried about that. We're focused on the ball game and on winning and finding solutions. And then there'll be a repeat question from another LA person, and he'll kind of do a nervous laugh. At that point, he'll go, well, like I said, and then he'll do the same thing. And at that point, things probably it'll go back to a friendly questioner, but I'm probably accurately describing the tenor of what's about to happen.
I think Mike Schult's going to be ready to answer whatever is brought to him, but I think he's going to shut down pretty quick anything that's not baseball related or anything that they've moved past, right?
Yes.
Anything that was hey, Sunday was 2 days ago. We're not even thinking about that. We've moved on to today's game. Hey, we are not thinking about tomorrow either. We are just focused on today. Here's the lineup. Here's who's playing. Here's who's pitching. Yada, yada. And that's probably the stance you need to take on a day like this. You don't feel anything more. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe he's got something that he wants to say about this whole incident. And, we'll probably get a chance to hear that.
Yep, we'll find out.
But typically, I think when you also hear Manny come out yesterday and say, look, that was Sunday. I'm looking forward to playing the Dodgers tomorrow and what's probably going to be a very competitive game. And you're trying to put it behind you. You're trying to move forward.
He might do a Manny defense.
He might talk about Manny.
He might do a Manny defense today. I would advise him, he does not need my advice, nor will he solicit it. I would advise him to completely skip it and to go full Belichick today. To literally answer every question with, we're on to game 3. We're on to game 3. We're on to game 3. What? Dave Roberts, what? We're on to game 3.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Yeah, Manny Machado, what? We're on to game 3. And just stay right there because...
We're on to Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's it. Because LA's minds aren't right for this game. Their minds aren't right. The Padres' only way to fall into their mud pit is to allow themselves to go down the road together, right? What's that old saying? Don't mud wrestle with a pig because you both get dirty and the pig likes it. That's pretty much where we are with the Padres and the Dodgers
And look,
right now.
if you're the Padres right now and you're going through this, Mike Schilt has preached all season long, what? We are together. We are a team that sticks together. We have each other's backs. Like, honestly, this might galvanize them even more, just the same way Sunday galvanized them there, because this is a team that's going to feed on that. They're going to feed on that kind of energy and that kind of like, you want to get to us? Well, I've got his back over here, and I've got that guy's back over here. It's how this team rolls. So I don't know what was intended to happen. Might end up having even more of a fire for the Padres than ever, you know. And the Padres just tweeted a video a half hour ago on their Twitter account. We're going to talk with our play, and we're going to be together. And then it's like a hype video, you know. So I think that it's kind of like that's kind of going to be the approach probably that they're going to take. We want to go out and win this game.
This team is more stitched together than any baseball team I've seen in my life. They are, and that was forged through so many things. It was forged through last year's disappointment. It was forged through the tragic passing of their beloved owner. It was forged through new management, a new commitment. It all came together. It was discussed over the winter. The hitting coach going to the players. You just told that story earlier today. Can we all buy into this philosophy? They all bought in. This year has been a crucible. It has forged this team in the form that it is now, its final form, a championship-worthy form. And Ken Rosenthal and Dave Roberts aren't going to dissuade this team from its championship-level form. I truly, truly believe that.
I think it's kind of funny, too. What did the Padres do to the national media, man? Like, what happened? They're just here in San Diego. Nobody even watches the games most of the time because people are watching the East Coast. It's on. Yeah. Look, this game is on at 9 p.m. on the East Coast today. Some people will stay up to watch it, but other people will probably hit the sack at 10, 11, or whatever. So it's just an interesting vibe right now, what's kind of happened with the Padres. And I think it's because they're doing well. They're performing. And you always want to kind of start an argument against that, right? Or kind of, rail on that a little bit. But I think the Padres are probably just going to come together and focus more because of this.
We're about 3 minutes away from Mike Schilt. Also, just to keep you up to date, 4 hours, 40 minutes, 51 seconds. Shohei Ohtani coming up. We'll keep you up to date. We'll keep you up to date. We'll let you know as things change. But Shohei will be batting presumably first. Dodgers haven't put out their lineup yet.
I was going to ask already.
Not the same level of conviction in the visiting dugout where they were able to put out that lineup pre-1:30. Nope. Just still sitting out. And we're still wondering, will Freddie Freeman be in the lineup? We do know Walker Buehler will be in the lineup. And I just want to note this once again because Walker Buehler is a pitcher who has had success against the Padres in the past. So there's probably a lot of like, Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler this year has had 16 starts. He threw a total of 75 innings in those 16 starts. So that's fewer than 5 innings per outing. He struck out only 64 in 75 and a third innings. Not a power pitcher, not anymore. He allowed 89 hits in those 75 innings of work. That's yummy hittable. He walked 28 batters in that time. That's over 3 walks per 9 innings. And he served up 16 homers. That's an average of almost 2 homers per 9 innings this year. 2 homers per 9 innings. Now you take it, Annie, and you move it into the playoff mode.
And a nice warm day.
On a beautiful day downtown. Tell you what, Walker Buehler's running into one today.
I think Walker Buehler is in a spot where it's like, it doesn't even need to be said to him. It's like, it's not a must. It's your season isn't over tonight, but it starts creeping real close to being over if the Dodgers don't win this one. So for the Padres, right? It's kind of same thing, right? It's just harder to do to come back and win the next 2 games. So the Padres and the Dodgers and Walker Buehler, I think probably is feeling that pressure and feeling that intensity also of a good Padres lineup, and probably also the fact that he hasn't had his best season. But they're going to depend on him today, and you just never know, right? You never know who's going to have their hero moment of the postseason and who's going to be able to come through for the team in the clutch. So I'm sure that he understands what's being asked today, and so does the rest of this team.
Still a baseball game.
Yeah.
Still going to play a baseball game.
Yeah.
So it's still going to come down to spin, and does it go fair or foul, everything else.
And they were embarrassed. I mean, 10-2 in a division game is embarrassing at your house with all the drama surrounding it. I would imagine that this offense for the Dodgers is going to want to come out and show, like, no, we're a better team than this. But also the other side of that, Craig, as you know, and Braden knows, is sometimes you try too hard.
Yes, and the harder you try, the less you do in the sport of Major League Baseball. Michael King will be on the mound for San Diego. He has been one of the 5 best pitchers in Major League Baseball since May 1st. He has continued that role straight through September, straight into his first playoff start. Michael King is the guy you want to give the ball to in a situation like this. Okay, we are counting down now. We should be on the immediate watch, right, for Mike Schilt here on 60 Minutes. I'm
great
Morley
crowd
Safer.
here at Baja Rick's.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Lunch crowd is out.
Lunch crowd is out.
Getting themselves a burrito.
Matt
or
Scravy is here.
So is Chris.
Chris
and so is
Ellis
Chris
here.
Ellis. Sorry, Chris.
You saw Scravy first?
Yeah. Sorry, Chris.
That's because Chris was here last time.
I understand. It's all right. It's okay.
Glad he knew where to go.
Chris wearing the plain white T-shirt. That's the yellow, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to buy that
I got the
shirt
off-white.
special. Yeah, no, that's not an yellow.
No, it's not an Elo.
You need the pure white.
I'm surprised he's not wearing the Hoffman giveaway jersey.
It might be in his bag or somewhere
he
near him.
He had to wash
Right.
it because he took it over the vacation.
It might just be too hot for it right now.
That's right.
Mike Schilt late? It's 1:31. What's going on
Yeah,
around
what's
here?
the deal? They usually start at like 1:27.
We're on pins and needles here, and now we're forced into a hard vamp.
I'm surprised Chris didn't wear any Dolphins gear just because it would stick out.
The chat is saying, while we wait,
Do some
Santo?
shots. Go ahead.
Reposado. Well, I don't have a shot glass.
What about the mezquila?
I'm not pouring it in my Gatorade bottle. That would do.
I feel like that'd be pretty good.
I think that would do permanent damage. I think that,
Your bottle container, whatever brand it may happen to be, would never recover.
it would never recover. Once your regular water bottle gets drunk,
Then you're the cartoon with the XXX bottle.
right? Exactly.
That's just permanently a drinking utensil for alcohol.
Hang on, I got something useful for you. 2, 1, 4 hours 36 minutes.
All right, thank you.
Shohei Ohtani
we
will
need
be
Mike
up
Schilt.
in 4 hours and 36 minutes. We'll keep you up to date. We definitely will. So we're waiting for Mike Schilt.
We are on the air. We're being outside.
Barely.
Yes, we are barely hanging on
Joe
right
asked
now.
the question,
Yes.
are we on the air? The answer is kind of.
Our forehead's different.
Kind of,
out
sort
here.
of.
But a great crowd out here, so we
Yes.
appreciate that. Yes.
And it is brought to you by Santo Super Premium additive-free tequila.
Are you on the air right
From
now?
Rock and Roll
I-
Hall of Famer
I
Sammy
hope so.
Hagar.
After the date we've had
And
today,
world-renowned
I hope
chef
so.
Guy Fieri.
Oh,
Fieri.
you mean nobody's heard our entire show from this point on? Nobody has any idea what we're saying.
Oh,
Why
Lord.
was there no Andy and Elsten today? Oh, I don't know.
We've been here the whole time.
Well, one person who won't be speaking today, it sounds like, is their starting pitcher for tomorrow, because the Padres don't know yet
yeah.
who that is.
That's
so,
why they scratched that point.
right, for the
Una
Padres and
DC
the
dead.
Dodgers. I don't think the Dodgers, actually, I don't know. Do they have someone speaking?
They had their
I have it right
full
here.
deal.
They have Gavin Lux, Max Muncy, and Dave Roberts. So,
No
Can't
pitchers.
wait.
No pitchers.
no pitchers.
talking.
Yeah, so for both teams, kind of looking at what's going to happen tomorrow and who might be an opener or who you might be going with as a starter. Maybe it's Landon Knack. I do hope it's Martin Perez for the Padres, although I'm not sure it's going to be. So it's an interesting time, and obviously what happens tonight in terms of the relievers and who gets used and how many arms they feel good about going into tomorrow.
Matt in the chat asks, is there any concern that Manny gets thrown at if a scenario of him getting on base doesn't hurt the Dodgers?
You know what?
As long as he doesn't get hurt, we'll take
as
the
long
free
as he doesn't
base.
get hurt. And
Thanks.
the thing is, you don't want to get thrown out of this game. Like,
No.
if you have a benches clearing incident, you can't afford to lose anybody tonight. You can't afford to lose your best hitters or any of these guys that are all your best hitters. They're on the lineup, right? So you got to be kind of careful with how things go today.
It's like those situations where it's like you want your guys to fight for their teammates, right, when things go haywire, but at the same time you got to be smart about it.
Be smart,
like
right?
you can't leave the dugout. Like just nobody leave. You can't leave the dugout. You can't have a situation like that break out. And understand where you're going. You're going places. The other team is trying to pull you down in the mud with them. Like the pig analogy that Craig said.
Yes. He had it earlier. Yeah.
That's right. But it's the same thing with from the high school football realm that we have. If you leave the sideline, you're suspended 3 games.
Yeah.
Regardless of if you do anything or not. Don't give Major League Baseball a reason to suspend you if it gets out of hand.
Adam just texted to apologize. That the press. It's not your fault, Adam.
It is Adam's fault. Adam should have went down there and told them, hey, look, we got to start at this time.
They've been pretty on time.
Maybe
there's things to discuss today.
They've been early.
You know?
Maybe
there's some extra discussion last
getting
second.
the last coaching points from the PR staff on how to handle the questions that the Dodgers tell Dave Veste to ask.
I said it earlier. The guy I got my eye on today is Jurickson Profar. I feel like of all the players, almost in baseball, no one thrives in chaos more than Jurickson Profar.
And even him, like, he can talk the talk. You can, like he says, you can talk but don't touch. You know, and he is that guy. Like, I think he does walk a very fine line, which is good.
Here comes Schilty.
With Mike Schilt, we have the first question we'll take from Kevin down here on the left.
Hey, Mike. I know you're not a big consumer of media, but you probably have seen the last day. Dave Roberts had some comments about Manny. I wonder what you thought of both the situation and Dave's comments.
Well, you know, I come from maybe a just different philosophy of dealing with this. I couldn't help but have people share them with me, so I'm aware of them. You know, listen, I got into this game to help players get the most out of their God-given ability and to compete on the field and respect the opponent. I'm not, nor will I disparage another player on another team, especially anybody I've managed in the past, nor will I do it to a collective team. So just not how I want to operate. I got a lot of respect for their club, the players on their club. You know, as far as Manny goes, you know, it's unfortunate that people can't, you know, move on from things from the past. I thought Manny's exhibition of professionalism and leadership were on display the other night in a very tough environment. He nor I or anyone will profess to be perfect, but Manny has made some strides that are very impressive both on and off the field. It's been a privilege to witness that. It's representative of him being our rightful Roberto Clemente nominee award winner, and I expect him to win it. I get the privilege of seeing him along with our players behind the scenes do some really special things for young people, our community, and you know, so you know, but people have their right clearly to share what they want and how they want to share it. You know, as far as the comments about the team, again, privilege keeps coming up in my head. It's a beyond a privilege. I've been doing this for 30 plus years. We all have our transgressions that we have. None of us are perfect, but I can speak to the heart of caring about people and players, and been with teams for a long time that represent themselves with class and dignity. And I don't have to defend this team. This team does not need my defense, nor do our players need to defend themselves. Again, very tough environment the other evening. Thought they handled themselves exceptionally well. Yeah, they had the right to defend themselves, but they also we're able to stay focused and participate. And, oh, by the way, we play a baseball game. And so, again, our club doesn't need to be defended. I love the joy that our club brings. I love the enthusiasm they bring. I love the freedom that they play with. And, again, I love their heart for our community and our organization. And that's as far as I'll go.
Next question for Mike. Go up here in the front on the right side.
Afternoon, Mike. Does this situation need to be de-escalated, or is it good for the game?
Oh, I don't think it's good for the game. I think this game stands on its own merits. We have the best game. I'm biased. I've been in it 100 years, but the theater that is postseason baseball, the excitement of it. The good news about it is it's no longer even America's game. It's the world's game. It's an international game. It's the international game. I mean, you look at it, and I just couldn't be more pleased with the direction that our game's going. Couldn't be more privileged to be a part of it. But our game, with all the different really good storylines, I mean, you look at the number of countries represented in our game today, the number of languages, you look at the passionate fan bases that love the teams. That's what we're here for. That's what this game's about. This game, just like the players, doesn't need any defense or doesn't need any anything to heighten it to bring any attention to it. It's a beautiful game that's very well run from our leadership, and the theater of the sport is plenty enough.
Just a quick follow-up. One way maybe to diffuse it, any thoughts of sending Manny out with a lineup card today with Dave?
I'll take actually Espa, our bench coach, basically will take the lineup card out. I don't think Dave shows up for the lineup card either. So after the first game of the series, so we've done our very best to diffuse it. Again, Ace asked the appropriate question. I answered it, shared my thoughts. The conversations that I've had will be private and one-on-one, which will take place and have. So, that's the old school in me. Let's just go play baseball.
Go to Marty in the second row.
Mike, do you believe in any way that Manny was trying to hit Dave Roberts? And are you
Zero.
surprised this has escalated to the way it has?
I don't think there was. I mean, listen. No, I don't. Just to answer it, I don't want to cast stones. I mean, I'm just not. So the answer to your question is no. I don't think there's any intent at all with that.
Barry.
And he's got exceptional arm talent. I think he proved that on the triple play.
Hey, Barry, second row.
Mike, your club sent out a message to all the fans last night. I'm sure you saw it. Basically, the long and the short of it, they asked them to behave. What do you expect to see out of your own fans here at the ballpark tonight?
A healthy escalation of what we saw all season that led into the first series against Atlanta that will lead into the game tonight. Very passionate, encouraging, hungry, loud fan base that knows where the line is, and you hope there's not one or two people and that don't do anything that cast a poor shadow, which I think probably is exactly what happened in Los Angeles, more or less. I just want to go out and play clean baseball, compete, have one more run into the game, and have our fans enjoy it and celebrate with us.
So, shifting to a baseball question here, what's your what's your pitching plans for tomorrow?
Oh, we're going to have a starter.
You will?
Yeah, at the top of the first. I promise you, we're going to run out a guy at the top of the first, and we'll announce later after the game. But there's a lot of moving parts to it. We're not being coy or anything like that. We're just playing today. You're welcome, Barry.
AJ here on the left.
Michael, a lot of moving parts, meaning like it could be contingent on who pitches tonight in the game, the relievers that pitch, or will you have a decided guy at some point before first pitch tonight?
We'll have a decision after the game. The game will help dictate it.
When you say we'll have a starter, is that a literal term? Could there be an opener? Could
You're
there
so
be?
good, AJ. Well done. I appreciate you, man. We have a guy that will start the baseball game. That I'm sure at some point in his life, in a little league or American Legion or college, or has started a game.
Go to Jeff on the left side, about 4 rows back.
Bogarts is in the lineup. Can you just kind of take us through how he got through yesterday and how he feels today?
I haven't seen him yet. Could have played yesterday. I talked to him. He was in there getting treatment. But he's all indications as of now, he's more than ready to go and compete.
And last one's for Mike. All right, thanks for coming in. We'll see you post game.
Thank you very much.
There it is, Mike Schilt. Couldn't love the man more than after that.
Did a great job with that.
Incredible.
And he's right. The intent, the fact that you would watch that video and think, oh, Manny's trying to hit Dave Roberts there, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't look it. It doesn't show it. There's no reason to think that. So I like that he addressed it. I like that he just shut it down. And he said, look, baseball's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a thing that brings everyone together, not something that divides everyone.
We got to take a timeout. We'll come back and wrap up the show next. And in Elsten, live from Baja, Ricks on the Fan.
What's up?
today. Standing by, Chris Ello, Matt Scraby, Tony Gwynn Jr. standing by inside Petco Park. For Gwynn and Chris, they will come your way from 2 until 5 p.m. Quite possibly we'll have some Padres press conference sound there in the first half hour.
Jackson Merrill is supposed to speak today.
Tremendous.
At 2 p.m., so that's fun. Yeah.
Looking
Seeing
forward
him
to
in
that.
a postseason press conference setting, I think it'll be great.
And just reiterating, you heard Mike Schilt before the break. You heard him live in his pregame press conference. You knew he was going to go that way, but it's the right way to go. There's nothing to be gained by following Dave Roberts and Ken Rosenthal down the road of petty attacks, pointless videos, all of this. This is dark arts. This is an attempt to get us away from our good mindset. We've got our mind right. Their mind is messed up. And I love how Mike Schilt addressed it.
Yeah, he handled it with class. He didn't shy away from it, but he also recognized
Her name
that,
is Annie. His name.
Well, okay then. Jeez. All right.
Okay. Recognize that, this is not something that he wants to get involved with. This is not something that they want to keep continuing. Dodgers are a good team. Let's go out and play a baseball game. And I believe in my players, and I believe in the integrity. Like you said, no one's perfect, but I believe that wasn't a shot over there like that they're making it out to be.
No, I mean, listen, Mike Schilt said it clean. He's not going to attack the other team. He's not going to attack a player on the other team.
There's no win in that right now.
Yeah.
There's just zero win in that.
Left unsaid,
Yeah.
but noticed, is that Dave Roberts did attack a player on our team. And that's what he did on purpose.
Let sleeping dogs lie.
Yes.
That's it.
And go talk with your baseball. Like, go speak with your play. Like, that is really what they need to
Talk
do.
with the pads, talk with the bat.
Right.
That's how you do it.
Stand on business.
That's right. Stand on business.
Stand on business today. The Padres have the better starter today. They have Michael King. The Padres have the best fan base in playoff baseball, ready to back them. And, I get, because you have to, I get why Eric Grupner sent the email to all of us season ticket holders last night, this morning. I understand why these comments are coming out. But I'm also going to say on San Diego's airwaves, Andy, they are completely unnecessary. Our San Diego Padre fans are not a bunch of bleeping idiots. Our San Diego Padre fans, they stand on their business to support this team and take the next step to get past this team and get to the next team to what our true goal is, which is winning the World's Championship. It has nothing to do with this team. They're just the next thing in the way. They want to make it about us. It's not about that. It's about baseball, and we've got the baseball team to win the game today.
If the Padres look back on this season, if they're World Series champions or they're sitting there in the World Series, they're going to look back on all these moments. They're going to look back on all the adversity. They're going to look back on the injuries. They're going to look back on facing the Nationals. They're going to look back on Mr. Irrelevant, but they're also going to see a team that was really united during the postseason and when things mattered really the most, So I think there's a lot to be gained here for the Padres, and there's a lot ahead of them still that they need to play for. You can't get ahead of yourself. You have to win tonight, and then you have to take care of business in one of the next games, because that's it. Put it away, move on to the championship series.
That's exactly right. They may not have any respect for us. They may not have any respect for our players and for the way we play the game, but I've got tons of respect for that Dodgers lineup. You have an equal amount of respect and determination. You respect them for who they are. You don't overlook it. You don't coast your way in. Nobody's going to. You keep that razor sharp focus, but you do it with the determination that you will overcome those players. You do it with the determination that the players you respect you are able to beat with a superior pitcher, with a superior pitching staff, with a superior defense, and with a lineup that can, as Tony Gwynn says, take that starter out to the deep end and drown him.
Yeah, well said. I mean, it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a great matchup. Definitely the Dodgers, I think, are going to show up and compete, as are the Padres. And so I hope that it is just a great game, right? Like, maybe there's a little drama here and there, nothing too crazy, but just a really good, hard-fought game. I think that's the way you kind of get this thing back on track. And if the Padres come out on the winning side of it, it's one step closer.
That's exactly right. And you know what? Either way, we're going to come up on Game 4, and we're going to come out there fired up and focused. I love where this Padres team is at right now, friends. I love where this team's mind's at. I love these players. This team is ready, and so are we, to turn it over to Gwen and Chris, who are up next.
And
thank you
Scraby.
so much, Hamby, Nikki, our great promotions team.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you to Engineer Mike coming out here and fixing things once again. For Braden and Annie, I'm Craig. We'll be back.